Chapter 56-38. Gu Fei's doppelganger controlled the core of Black Qilin City's formation. With a small test, he actually smashed the Earth Giant that had blasted open the East Gate to the ground. Roar! The Earth Giant roared as it stood up. It was just an earthen figure that had been formed from the power of the earth. However, the yuan qi that erupted from the earthen figure was extremely powerful. The Earth Giant was over 30 meters tall, like a small mountain. The earth elemental energy that erupted from it was definitely at the peak of the Earth realm, even reaching half a step into the Heaven realm. Otherwise, this Earth Giant wouldn't have been able to blast open the East Gate. Seeing the lightning strike the Earth Giant to the ground, everyone was indescribably shocked. The countless warriors in the surroundings immediately retreated far away. Apart from the corpses on the ground, no one dared to get close to the Earth Giant. One of Wu Lianyang's 5 elemental generals, Earth General. On top of the city wall, Black Qilin City Lord Dongyu Tianxia, who was facing the commander of the Sky Tyrant army in the sky, said indifferently. Not only did Wu Lianyang have the 5 elemental generals, but he also had the wind, cloud, thunder, lightning, and rain generals. These 10 generals added together made up Wu Lianyang's 10 generals. These 10 generals were Wu Lianyang's trusted subordinates. They had followed Wu Lianyang to battle all over the place. Each of them had quite a lot of military achievements and were Wu Lianyang's most capable subordinates. At this moment, a tall and burly general walked up from below the city wall, carrying a person in his hand. This person directly brought a guy to the side of Black Qilin City Lord Dongyu Tianxia. "Greetings, City Lord." The person bowed to Dongyu Tianxia. He was Black Qilin City's #1 general, Longxiang Man. And the guy in Longxiang Man's hand was one of the 10 generals under the command of Sky Tyrant Army's commander, Wu Lianyang, who had infiltrated Black Qilin City and wanted to break open the East Gate, Thunder General. At this moment, Thunder General wasn't dead, but he had already lost all his battle strength. Although Thunder General was powerful, he was still not a match for Longxiang Man, the #1 general of Black Qilin City. He was miserably abused by Longxiang Man. Very good. Dongyu Tianxia nodded, still staring at the figure in the sky. Thunder General. Seeing his subordinate crippled, Wu Lianyang couldn't help but be enraged. However, he didn't dare to act recklessly because Dongyu Tian was staring at him, wanting nothing more than for him to reveal an opening. Dongyu Tianxia was the city lord of Black Qilin City. His cultivation was actually on par with Wu Lianyang. This was also why they did not dare to act rashly. This was because the moment they revealed an opening, the other party would immediately launch a fatal attack. "Wu Lianyang, retreat," Dongyu Tianxia said coldly. "Impossible." Wu Lianyang immediately refused. "Then your general will have to die." Longxiang Barbarian raised the Thunder General in his hand and said loudly. "Despicable." Wu Lianyang glared at Dragon Elephant Barbarian with red eyes. The 10 war generals had followed him for hundreds of years, and their friendship was even closer than blood brothers. Now that Thunder General was seriously injured and on the verge of death, Wu Lianyang really wanted to tear that barbarian dragon elephant into 1,000 pieces. "Ha ha! Wu Lianyang, who are you calling despicable? Weren't you despicable when you assassinated my Black Qilin City's array master?" Dongyu Tianxia laughed. Wu Lianyang's expression changed several times. Assassinating Black Qilin City's array master was really dishonorable. For a moment, he did not know what to say to refute. "Cut the crap. I'll just ask you, are you going to retreat or not?" Dongyu Tianxia said sternly. Wu Lianyang did not speak, but his expression was extremely ugly. "Fine." Dongyu Tianxia waved his hand. "Catcher." The sound of bones breaking rang out. Longxiang Barbarian directly broke the Thunder General's neck. Just like that, the Thunder General of a generation fell on the East Gate of Black Qilin City. Roar! Wu Lianyang roared at the sky. The entire void trembled, and the rolling sound waves spread out, shaking the souls of countless soldiers and making them almost vomit blood. The Thunder General had fallen. Of the 10 war generals that once shook the tyrannical Sky Empire, only 9 were left. "Dongyu Tianxia, I want your life." Wu Liang roared and directly pounced on Dongyu Tianxia from the sky. Rumble! He threw a punch at Dongyu Tianxia on the city wall. The violent fist Qi turned into a huge dragon, baring its fangs and brandishing its claws as it pounced at Dongyu Tianxia. Swoosh! A sword ray suddenly rushed out from Dongyu Tianxia's body. The sword ray seemed indestructible, instantly splitting the dragon-shaped fist Qi in half. At the same time, Dongyu Tianxia directly rushed up. He instantly became one with the sword ray, turning into an immortal sword rainbow that soared into the sky and slashed at Wu Liang. The two army commanders finally started fighting. Kill! Kill them all! The tyrannical Sky Empire's army charged again. Countless tyrannical war soldiers attacked the east gate like a tide. At this time, inside the city, tyrannical young Lord Ba Fei and Princess Dongyu Shuer were still in a standoff, but their subordinates were fighting everywhere in Black Qilin City. In the City Lord Residence's formation hub, Gu Fei's clone was also fighting with the formation master of the Mystical Heaven sect outside the city. This was a contest of formations. Whoever had a higher cultivation in formations would be the winner. The problem was, Gu Fei's clone was controlling the Black Qilin City's Great City Barrier Formation, while the formation master of the Mystical Heaven sect was outside the city. He felt like he was too far away to help. After all, the range of the Great City Barrier Formation was limited. Although Gu Fei's clone controlled the Great City Barrier Formation, if the opponent did not barge in, there was nothing he could do. You draw the spiritual qi of heaven and earth, so I will too. The formation master of the Mystical Heaven sect was furious. The formation master slapped a cloth bag on his waist. In the next moment, dozens of divine lights rushed out from the bag, rushing in all directions. Each beam of divine light was wrapped in a flag. These flags rapidly grew in size, then stabbed into the surrounding void. Countless formation patterns emerged from these flags and rushed out. The formation patterns that rushed out from the flags were branded in the void. A large formation appeared in the void in an instant. In the next moment, the spiritual energy of the world was attracted by the formation and gathered towards it in a frenzy. Interesting. Gu Fei's clone sensed the changes in the surroundings and nodded. The guy who broke the formation outside was quite capable. Since the other party dared to break the Black Qilin City's Great City Barrier Formation, he naturally had some confidence. Unfortunately, Gu Fei's clone had already controlled the formation hub of Black Qilin City. I'll play with you. Chapter 5639. Who is it? Outside Black Qilin City of the East Moon Dynasty in the Limitless Realm, the formation master of the Mystical Heaven sect, Master Lin, sat in the air with his legs crossed. A layer of cold sweat seeped out of his forehead. Countless formation patterns intertwined around Master Lin. Mysterious formation diagrams kept appearing in the air and kept changing, attracting a huge amount of spiritual energy from heaven and earth. However, Master Lin was extremely nervous at this moment because the previously lifeless Black Qilin City's city defense formation had come alive. It was impossible for the Black Qilin City's city defense formation to come alive for no reason. Needless to say, someone must have taken control of the formation. At this time, was there still a formation master in Black Qilin City who could control the formation master? Master Lin knew that young Lord Ba Fei had assassinated the formation master of Black Qilin City. That was also why Master Lin agreed to help. Master Lin didn't think much of a defensive spell that no one was controlling. However, it would be very difficult to break the Black Qilin City's great formation that was controlled by someone. Even this formation master from the Mystical Heaven sect did not have the confidence to break the Black Qilin City's great formation that was controlled by someone. What's going on? Inside Black Qilin City, Tyrant young Lord Tyrant Fei was shocked to see the hole in the void being quickly repaired by the formation-breaking arrow. If the formation patterns of the Black Qilin City's city defense formation were completely repaired, they would be trapped in Black Qilin City and become Dongyu Shuer's prisoners. How could that be? Young Lord Ba Fei's wish was to break through Black Qilin City and capture Dongyu Shuer alive. He wanted Dongyu Shuer, the high and mighty princess of the East Moon Dynasty, to be his servant. Kill. Sensing young Lord Ba Fei's emotions, Dongyu Shui drew her bow and shot an arrow at Ba Fei. Swoosh! A dazzling arrow light appeared and instantly pierced through the air, arriving in front of young Lord Ba Fei. Without hesitation, young Lord Overlord raised the Overlord shield in his hand to meet the attack. The arrow light directly hit the sky-dominating shield. In the next moment, with a loud bang, the arrow light directly exploded. It was as if a dazzling firework had suddenly appeared in the sky. Ba Fei only felt the hands that were holding the sky-dominating shield shake violently. His arms were in extreme pain, as if the bones in his arms had been shattered. His entire body was sent flying backward. The blood in his body was tumbling, and a gush of blood surged up his throat. He almost spat it out. Ba Fei forcefully swallowed the blood that was welling up in his throat. After flipping in the air for more than 100 feet, Ba Fei stopped retreating. He immediately checked the sky-dominating shield in his hand and saw that it was undamaged. The hegemonic sky shield truly lived up to its reputation as an important treasure of the hegemonic sky empire. Even after being struck by the East Moon Bow's arrow light, not a single mark was left on its surface. Ha ha, Ba Fei was surprised and happy, laughing out loud. However, at that moment, over a dozen streaks of light appeared in the air. Each streak of light shot towards Ba Fei like bolts of cold lightning. The streaks of light moved rapidly in the air and surrounded Ba Fei from all directions, sealing off all his escape routes. Damn, Ba Fei did not dare to be careless. He used the sky-dominating shield in his hand with all his might. Buzz! The sky-dominating shield vibrated in Ba Fei's hand. A ball of divine light erupted from the shield, enveloping him instantly. The dozen or so streaks of light landed on the ball of divine light around Ba Fei's body. Dense explosions rang out. Terrifying, destructive power engulfed Ba Fei and the ball of divine light around him. Violent power spread out, causing the surrounding space to tremble. Dongyu Shui, who had fired over a dozen streaks of light, did not feel happy at all, as her opponent had the sky-dominating shield. Although the East Moon Bow was an important treasure of the East Moon Empire and possessed shocking power, the sky-dominating shield of the hegemonic Sky Empire was not to be trifled with. The sky-dominating shield was also a famous treasure of the path. As for which of the two Dao treasures was stronger, no one knew. As the light dissipated, a figure appeared in Dongyu Shui's eyes. Ba Fei had blocked the dozen or so streaks of light. The defensive power of the sky-dominating shield was indeed shocking. Even the streaks of light fired by Dongyu Shui with the East Moon Bow could not break through the shield's defense. This is bad. Dongyu Shui cursed inwardly. Since the sky-dominating shield was in Ba Fei's hands, the other Dao treasure, the sky-dominating spear, was definitely in his hands as well. The sky-dominating shield and sky-dominating spear were a set of Dao treasures. One for defense, the other for offense. Using the two Dao treasures together was flawless. Ha, Dongyu Shui, let's see where you can run to this time. Ba Fei laughed and flipped his right hand. A spear immediately appeared in his hand. As I thought, Dongyu Shui immediately tensed up when she saw the spear in his hand. I should be the one saying that. Dongyu Shui suddenly smiled. At that moment, she also sensed that the entire Black Chilean city's city defense formation had changed. Although she did not know what was going on, she was certain that someone had taken control of the formation. Moreover, the person who had taken control of the formation was on her side. If the other party had controlled the city protecting formation, then the current Black Chilean city would have become a defenseless city. Ba Fei lost his cool. Dongyu Shui was right. The Black Chilean city's city defense formation was rapidly being repaired. Once it was fully repaired, all those who had attacked Black Chilean city would be trapped in the city like turtles in a jar. At that moment, Ba Fei's subordinates began to flee toward him. Everyone realized that something was wrong. No one was willing to die trapped in the city. These guys are pretty smart. Jiyu Fei's clone in the center of the formation nodded when he saw this. The people of the tyrannical Sky Empire began to retreat. These guys were pretty quick to react to changes in the formation. If that's the case, let's give them a small reward, Jiyu Fei's clone said and snapped his fingers again. Although he had only snapped his fingers in the center of the formation, the sky above Black Chelin City suddenly changed color and the sun and moon dimmed. Dazzling bolts of lightning descended from the sky without warning, directly striking Ba Fei and his subordinates. Blood-curdling screams could be heard everywhere. The lightning that descended from the sky was extremely fast. In an instant, it struck the bodies of Ba Fei's subordinates. Even Ba Fei was struck by a bolt of lightning. His whole body was charred, and his hair stood straight up. Haha, how does it feel to be struck by lightning? Chapter 5640. At this moment, Black Chelin City was shaking. Although it was daytime, the sky was dark. Lightning flickered in the air and the entire place was filled with the smell of blood. The sky above Black Chelin City was covered in dark clouds, but there was no sign of rain. Two powerful figures were moving rapidly in the sky above Black Chelin City. The battle was intense. Dull clashing sounds kept ringing, shaking the entire city. Everyone was shocked. It was the city lord of Black Chelin City, Dongyu Tianxia, and the commander of the Heaven Tyrant's army, Wu Liang. Moreover, Black Chelin City's defensive formation was gathering spiritual qi. The formation master of the mystical heaven sect was also operating the formation to compete for the spiritual qi. Dongyu Tianxia was fighting Wu Liang with his life. The spiritual qi of the entire Black Chelin City was in a mess. Those with weaker cultivation couldn't even fly. The Black Demon General who attacked Black Chelin City first was retreating. They had no choice but to retreat because the defensive formation was repairing quickly. Tu Tianhu of the Tu Clan was fighting with the Black Demon General. Tu Clan, Tiger Clan, and Longxiang Clan, the three great cultivation clans of Black Chelin City, sent out all their experts, trying to hold back those who attacked Black Chelin City. They all knew that once the great formation of the Black Chelin City was repaired, it would be the death of Ba Fei and his men. However, it was easy for them to attack Black Chelin City, but it wasn't easy for them to kill their way out. I'd like to see who you are. In the sky outside Black Chelin City, the formation master of the mystical heaven sect clenched his teeth and slapped the leather pouch on his waist. 9 rays of divine light rushed out from the pouch. The 9 rays of divine light wrapped around 9 formation plates. The 9 formation plates quickly enlarged and floated in 9 different directions above Black Chelin City. 9 heavens thunder transformation. Master Lin roared and formed a seal with both hands. Buzz. The 9 formation plates vibrated at the same time. Countless runes rushed out from the formation plates and imprinted in the air. In an instant, a formation appeared in the sky above Black Chelin City. Rumble. When the formation was activated, it actually cut off the spiritual energy that was gathering towards Black Chelin City from the sky. Ayo, you dare to steal my fruit. In the center of Black Chelin City's protective array formation, Ji Yufei's clone couldn't help but be excited when he saw this scene. In the Limitless Realm, this was the first time he had encountered a formation master. He originally thought that the array formation masters of the Limitless Realm were only like this. But now, it seemed that he had still underestimated the array formation masters of the Limitless Realm. The array formation grandmaster outside the city could actually use an array disk to set up an array formation. It seemed that his array formation mastery was not low. However, in the eyes of Ji Yufei's avatar, it was still not enough. However, with the current cultivation level of Ji Yufei's clone, even if this array master's array Dao cultivation level was not enough to catch his eye, he was definitely stronger than him. And it wasn't just a little bit stronger, it was a crushing defeat. However, Ji Yufei's doppelganger was now in control of the Black Chelin City's city protection formation. With the help of the Black Chelin City's city protection formation, he could still compete with the formation master outside. Ji Yufei's clone knew very well what the formation master outside the city was going to do. First, he would cut off the spiritual qi source of the Black Chelin City's city protection formation, then he would break the formation. The moment the spiritual qi source of the Black Chelin City's city protection formation was cut off, the power of the entire city protection formation immediately weakened, and the formation's repair speed immediately slowed down. Haha, Master Lin really lives up to his reputation. The extraordinary Heaven sect is worthy of being the #1 sect of Array Dao in the Limitless Realm. When the Black Demon General and the others saw this scene, they were both surprised and delighted. High up in the sky, the commander of the Heaven Tyrant army that was fighting against the East Moon Empire, Wu Liang, also heaved a sigh of relief. The current situation was really very critical, because the vanguard of the East Moon Empire's reinforcements had already arrived. Although the East Moon Empire's heavenly army only had tens of thousands of people and could not influence the outcome of this battle, it greatly boosted the morale of the defending army of Black Chilin City. Since the East Moon Empire's heavenly army had arrived, then the main force of the East Moon Empire's reinforcements should also arrive very soon. Once the main force of the East Moon Empire's reinforcements arrived, the outcome of this battle would be decided. The main force of the East Moon Empire's reinforcements was a powerful force that could change the outcome of the battle. Kill them all. Those who kill their way into the city will be rewarded with 1,000 taels of gold. The generals of the tyrannical Sky Empire roared angrily at the same time. Roar. Kill. Countless soldiers of the tyrannical Sky Empire charged towards the city gates of Black Chilin City with bloodshot eyes. Scaling ladders were placed on top of the city walls, and countless soldiers of the tyrannical Sky Empire charged up the ladders. No matter how many of you come, I'll kill them all. On top of the city walls, a tall and burly general unsheathed the saber at his waist and leaped up, sweeping down towards the bottom of the city walls. Dazzling saber gleams immediately shot out from the saber, soaring thousands of meters in an instant. Wherever the saber gleam passed, dozens of scaling ladders on top of the city walls were directly severed. The soldiers of the tyrannical Sky Empire on the scaling ladders fell down like dumplings. The Dragon Elephant Man made his move. He was a peak Earth-rank general. With a single move, he directly dealt with the soldiers who wanted to attack the city walls. Although this was the Everlasting Realm, siege warfare here was still very primitive. It should be noted that even in the Everlasting Realm, not everyone possessed powerful cultivation. The lowest-ranked soldiers of the two great empires were only slightly stronger than ordinary people. However, this was the Everlasting Realm after all. This world was very mysterious, and all living beings in the Everlasting Realm possessed a long lifespan. At this moment, the Dragon Elephant Man leaped down from the city walls and directly charged into the tyrannical Sky Empire's army. He was like a tiger that had entered a flock of sheep. With a casual sweep of his saber, a large number of the soldiers of the tyrannical Sky Empire collapsed. Every time the Dragon Elephant Man struck with his saber, the saber gleam that rushed out from the saber was definitely longer than 40 meters. Wherever the 1,000-meter-long saber gleam passed, corpses were strewn everywhere. Right now, the Dragon Elephant Man was simply a terrifying killing tool. In the blink of an eye, the tyrannical Sky Empire's army suffered heavy losses. Clang! Just as the Dragon Elephant Man was about to go on a killing spree, a general directly charged over from the side. This general waved the battle axe in his hand and directly blocked the saber that the Dragon Elephant Man had slashed out. The battle axe in the general's right hand was directly sent flying. His palm was dripping with blood, and a series of cracks had appeared on it. You actually managed to block my saber. Since you have some ability, I shall grant you death. The Dragon Elephant Man waved his saber and slashed at the general. What? The general was shocked and hurriedly retreated. Chapter 5641. The Battle of Black Chilin City was about to end. Both the East Moon Empire and the Sky Tyrant Army were giving it their all. Under the lead of the generals, the Sky Tyrant Army attacked the city in a frenzy. Among the 10 generals under Wu Liang's command, a few had already reached the top of the city walls. Scaling ladders once again reached the top of Black Chilin City. The Sky Tyrant soldiers attacked the top of the city walls along the scaling ladders. On the top of the city walls, the East Moon Empire's soldiers lifted huge logs and rocks, smashing them at the Sky Tyrant soldiers climbing up from the scaling ladders. However, when the Sky Tyrant soldiers in front of the scaling ladders were smashed down, the Sky Tyrant soldiers behind them surged up again. They were not afraid of death at all. Facing countless enemies who did not care about their lives, the East Moon Empire's soldiers were also quite frightened. However, they knew very well that they still had a chance of survival if they fought with their lives on the line. If they were to cower and be defeated, they would only be left with a dead end. Behind the East Moon Empire's soldiers were their families. The family and friends of every soldier on the top of the city walls were in the city. If the city was breached, everyone would be finished. As a result, even when facing ferocious enemies who did not fear death, they could not retreat. They could only fight to the death. Outside the east gate of Black Chelene City, battle cries shook the heavens and the earth. Corpses piled up into a small mountain, and the water of the moat was dyed red. It was extremely tragic. At this moment, high up in the sky, the city lord of Black Chelene City, Dong Yu Tianxia, and the commander of the Sky Tyrant Army, Wu Liang, were also fighting. Their cultivation was about the same, so it did not seem easy to determine a victor. Meanwhile, the formation master of the mystical heaven sect, Master Lin, who was invited by the young lord of the Sky Tyrant Army, also used his trump card. This formation master laid down the most powerful Nine Heavens Thunder formation, directly cutting off the source of spiritual chi for Black Chelene City's protective formation. Dazzling bolts of lightning appeared in the dark sky, as if tearing the void apart. A terrifying aura of destruction permeated every inch of space, instilling fear in everyone. This guy's formation skills aren't completely useless. I'd like to see just how capable he is. In the City Lord's mansion of Black Chelene City, in the center of the city defense formation, Ji Yufei's doppelganger was interested in the formation master outside the city. The Limitless Realms Array Dao was actually so backward. This surprised Ji Yufei's clone. That was because this was the Limitless Realm, a super world of the highest level. In such a super world, the various cultivation systems should have been developed to the extreme. After all, the infinite world was a place where infinite primes could be born. Let's try it out first. Ji Yufei's doppelganger sat on the throne in the center of the formation and extended his right hand. Pa! He snapped his fingers. Then, at the four gates of Black Chelene City, a dazzling pillar of light rushed out. The four pillars of light were like pillars that supported the sky, and actually supported the Ninth Heaven's Thunder formation that was pressing down from the sky. Outside the city, Master Lin, who was controlling the Nine Heavens Sky Thunder formation, suddenly raised his head. Two rays of light shot out from his eyes. As expected, Master Lin formed a seal with both of his hands and struck the Nine Heavens Sky Thunder formation. The power of the Nine Heavens Sky Thunder formation immediately rose. Rumble, countless bolts of lightning appeared in the void, and balls of thunder descended from the sky, directly blasting towards Black Chelene City below. The power of the balls of lightning was so strong that it actually broke the light barrier of Black Chelene City. Hehe, I want to see how you are going to deal with this. Master Lin sneered. Her voice was crisp and sweet. The mysterious Master Lin turned out to be a woman. Fire Chelene swallows the sky. In the center of the formation, Ji Yufei's doppelganger chuckled and snapped his fingers again. The next moment, the Black Chelene City's city defense formation immediately changed. A huge shadow of a fire Chelene appeared in the sky above Black Chelene City. The fire unicorn opened its mouth and inhaled, directly swallowing the countless thunder balls falling from the sky into its stomach. Roar. After the fire Chelene swallowed the balls of lightning, it roared at the Nine Heavens Sky Thunder formation in the sky. The next moment, the fire Chelene rushed to the sky and directly collided with the Nine Heavens Sky Thunder formation. What? When Master Lin saw this, he couldn't help but be shocked. She never thought that the opponent could deal with her big move so easily and counterattack. Boom! A huge explosion rang out, causing the heavens and earth to tremble. The fire unicorn actually collided with the Nine Heavens Thunder formation and exploded. The destructive power exploded out, shaking the entire Nine Heavens Thunder formation. In the void, the patterns that formed the Nine Heavens Sky Thunder formation were collapsing and dissipating. Master Lin was shocked and angry. He quickly activated the 9 formation boards that were fixed in the sky above Black Chelene City. Buzz! The 9 formation boards were shaking violently. Countless patterns rushed out from the 9 formation boards and quickly repaired the collapsed patterns. Just as Master Lin was activating the 9 Heavens Sky Thunder formation, Ji Yufei's clone in the center of the formation waved his right hand. A dazzling sword light rushed out from Black Chelene City and pierced through Master Lin, who was outside the city at an extremely fast speed. At this moment, Ji Yufei's clone had completely controlled the Black Qilin City's defensive formation. He could use the power of the Black Qilin City's defensive formation for his own use with just a wave of his hand. He could do whatever he wanted. Ji Yufei's clone's formation Dao was not something that Master Lin outside the city could compare with. He only needed to wave his hand in the center of the formation and he could instantly activate the power of the Black Qilin City's defensive formation. This power turned into a dazzling sword light. The sword light arrived in an instant and broke through Master Lin's protective shield. Master Lin's shock was no small matter. Just as Master Lin was about to be pierced by the sword light released by Ji Yufei's clone, a light shield suddenly appeared in front of Master Lin. The sword light that pierced through the shield directly collided with the light shield. In the next moment, the sound of something shattering could be heard from Master Lin's body. Then, the light shield in front of him shattered and the shards disappeared into thin air. The sword light that collided with the light shield also dissipated. Master Lin of the Mystical Heaven sect was so frightened that she broke out in a cold sweat. Just a moment ago, she had taken a trip to the gates of hell. If it weren't for her sect's protective talisman blocking that sword light, she would have been killed by that array master in the city. Who was the formation master inside? His formation Dao cultivation made Master Lin from the Mystical Heaven sect palpitate. His formation Dao cultivation was probably far above her. A formation Dao cultivator with such amazing formation Dao cultivation was definitely not an ordinary person. Who was it? Chapter 5642. In the Limitless Realm, the Mystical Heaven sect was known as the #1 sect in the field of formations. Of course, many people in the Limitless Realm were unconvinced by the title of the #1 sect in the field of formations. However, in the field of formations, the Mystical Heaven sect was rather impressive. In the Limitless Realm, most of the famous formation masters came from the Mystical Heaven sect. Moreover, the formation masters of the Mystical Heaven sect were not easy to get. To get them to help, one had to pay a hefty price because their price was not low. This time, B.A. Fei was already lucky to be able to get a formation master from the Mystical Heaven sect. Actually, Master Lin was willing to help because B.A. Fei happened to have something that she needed. Otherwise, she wouldn't have participated in this kind of struggle for supremacy in the dynasty. Of course, since she had already made a move, she would not fool B.A. Fei. This was related to the reputation of the Mystical Heaven sect. The formation masters of the Mystical Heaven sect walking outside represented the Mystical Heaven sect. If Master Lin were to be defeated in Black Qilin City, not only would his reputation be tarnished, but the other formation masters of the Mystical Heaven sect would also lose face. At this time, this Master Lin from the Mystical Heaven sect was really curious. Who was the person who controlled the Black Qilin City's defensive formation and battled with him? Although the defensive formation of Black Qilin City was ready-made, to be able to control the defensive formation of Black Qilin City, his formation mastery must not be low. A formation master with such a high level of formation mastery must not be a nobody. Who was it that was going against him? Die. Master Lin finally decided to kill. A terrifying murderous aura emanated from his body, causing the temperature of the surroundings to drop rapidly. Rumble. The Nine Heavens Thunder formation was shaking. Countless runes spread from the sky and shrouded Black Qilin City. This was because a beam of light shot out from each of the 4 gates of Black Qilin City, supporting the Nine Heavens formation from the sky. However, the formation of the Nine Heavens Thunder formation was like an open sack, trying to contain the entire Black Qilin City. Master Lin, what are you doing? Wu Liang, who was fighting Dongyu Tianxia, was shocked to see this. Once the Ninth Heaven's lightning formation landed, not to mention whether or not it could break through Black Qilin City's defensive formation, his Sky Tyrant army would be the first to suffer. Countless bolts of lightning fell from the Nine Heavens Thunder Chen's formation. Outside Black Qilin City, the Sky Tyrant battle soldiers that were struck by the lightning were directly turned into charcoal and died. Why do I need to explain to you what I'm doing? Master Lin said coldly. She was in conflict with the array master who controlled the Black Qilin City's defensive formation. This, Wu Liang was shocked and angry when he heard this, but he didn't dare to flare up because he couldn't afford to offend the extraordinary Heaven sect. To be honest, even though the mystical Heaven sect was only an array formation sect, its power was something even the tyrannical Sky Empire couldn't compare to. In the limitless realm, the power of a supersect was much stronger than any dynasty. This Master Lin didn't even care about Wu Liang, the commander-in-chief of the Sky Tyrant army. Naturally, she didn't care about the lives of the Sky Tyrant soldiers. Sai. Ji Yufei's doppelganger in the center of the Black Qilin City's formation side. The array master outside was a ruthless person. One must know that the power of the Heavenly Thunder formation was not small. If he didn't control the Black Qilin City's defensive formation, many people would have died. Ji Yufei wasn't a person who killed indiscriminately. As Ji Yufei's doppelganger, he wouldn't care about the lives of other living creatures. As long as it was within his ability, he would try his best to avoid hurting the innocent. But Master Lin outside the city didn't care about this. Ji Yufei's doppelganger couldn't ignore the lives of countless living creatures. Wind, rise. Ji Yufei's doppelganger became serious. In the next moment, the Black Qilin City's defensive formation immediately changed. A terrifying astral wind rushed out of the city and blew away the countless bolts of lightning that fell from the sky. Outside the city, Master Lin saw this scene and couldn't help but widen his eyes in disbelief. How was this possible? The astral wind formed by the power of the formation could blow away the lightning condensed by the power of the Nine Heavens Thunder formation? If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, Master Lin wouldn't have believed that someone could have such an ability. But then, an even more shocking scene appeared. The power of the Black Qilin City's formation was gathering crazily, and a giant figure appeared between heaven and earth. This figure was like a giant that opened up the sky. He reached out his hand and grabbed the formation map of the Nine Heavens Thunder formation in the void and pulled it with all his might. The formation map of the Nine Heavens Thunder formation was torn open by this giant just like that. Whoa! Master Lin's heart trembled. His body trembled and he spat out a mouthful of blood. His entire body became a little weary. She had received a great shock. What? Seeing Master Lin spit out blood, many people were inexplicably shocked. Even the Array Master of the Mystical Heaven sect couldn't defeat the Array Master of the Black Qilin City. In the eyes of Ba Fei and the rest, the Array Master of the Mystical Heaven sect was like a god. With Master Lin's help, wouldn't it be a piece of cake to break through the Black Qilin City? But now, things had gone beyond everyone's expectations. Even Master Lin of the Mystical Heaven sect was injured and spitting out blood. This was not a good thing for the people of the tyrannical Heaven dynasty. One must know that if Master Lin lost in the Battle of the Formation, they would not be able to break through the Black Qilin City. Because if Master Lin lost, who would break through the Black Qilin City's defensive formation? If they couldn't break through the Black Qilin City's defensive formation, how could they break through the city? Let's do it. Master Lin roared and attacked. She spat out another mouthful of blood. However, after she spat out this mouthful of blood, it turned into 9 rays of bloodlight that rushed towards the 9 array discs in the sky. The moment the blood-red light rushed into the formation plate, the 9 formation plates suspended in the void shook violently. Countless runes rushed out of the formation plates and quickly repaired the formation plate that was torn by the huge figure. However, Master Lin still underestimated Ji Yufei's clone. Actually, the cultivation of Ji Yufei's clone was not at the same level as Master Lin's. The gap between them was not just a little. Most importantly, the Black Qilin City's defensive formation had existed for a long time and had been strengthened by countless experts. This way, the power of the defensive formation would be even more difficult to predict. Chapter 56-43. Black Qilin City's city defense formation was not weak. This formation should have been set up by a formation master in the Limitless Realm. In the Limitless Realm, to be able to set up a formation of this level, one must at least be a formation master. A formation master, even in the Mystical Heaven sect, was considered as a top-notch person. Of course, above the formation master, there were still formation grandmasters and formation saints. However, these people would not easily make a move. If it was an ordinary formation master, it would really be difficult for the Black Chilean City's city defense formation to unleash its full power. However, the person controlling the Black Chilean City's city defense formation was Jiu Fei's doppelganger. With Jiu Fei's doppelganger's cultivation, it was not difficult for him to unleash the full power of the Black Chilean City's city defense formation. At this moment, Jiu Fei's doppelganger was sitting in the center of the Black Chilean City's city defense formation. His hands danced in the air like a peeper. The power of the entire Black Chilean City was gathering crazily and then exploded. Countless divine lights rushed into the sky and directly pierced through the Nine Heavens Thunder formation. Even if Master Lin used all his strength to activate the formation board's power, he still could not stop it. The Nine Heavens Thunder formation was immediately riddled with holes by the divine light that rushed out from all over Black Chilean City. The power of the formation naturally plummeted, and countless cracks appeared on the 9 formation discs that were floating in the void. The 9 formation boards were connected to Master Lin's mind. When the formation boards cracked, Master Lin was directly hit. Whoa! Master Lin vomited blood again. Master Lin was really depressed now. She had never been in such a difficult situation. She never thought that she would meet such a powerful opponent in the small Black Chilean City. Even the Nine Heavens Thunder formation could not deal with the opponent. She had no choice but to admit defeat. Because the strongest formation she could use was the Nine Heavens Thunder formation. Roar! At this moment, the huge figure formed by the Black Chilean City's city defense formation broke through the Nine Heavens Thunder formation and rushed into the sky. The formation patterns of the Nine Heavens Thunder formation dissipated in the air. The 9 formation discs of the Ninth Heavens Thunder formation, which were suspended in the void, instantly crumbled. Damn it! When Master Lin saw this, she knew that she had lost the upper hand. She couldn't fight anymore. She crushed a talisman and at the next moment, a ball of divine light enveloped her. Swoosh! With a flash of divine light, Master Lin's figure instantly disappeared into the void. He was nowhere to be seen. Master Lin escaped. The experts of the tyrannical Sky Dynasty were shocked to see this. Even the Array Formation Grandmaster of the mystical Heaven sect was defeated. How could they continue to play? This, high up in the sky, Wu Liang, who was fighting with Dongyu Tianxia, was both shocked and angry. This formation master that Ba Fei invited was simply unworthy of his reputation. Retreat! Wu Liang couldn't care less. He roared angrily and his voice reached everyone's ears. What? The Sky Tyrant army that was attacking the city was thrown into disarray. Although the generals were a little confused, Wu Liang had already given the order, so they had to carry it out unconditionally. Very quickly, the Sky Tyrant army began to retreat in an orderly manner. The Sky Tyrant army retreated in an orderly manner and showed no signs of collapsing. This impressed the generals of the Dongyu Empire who were guarding the city. The army led by Wu Liang was not simple. The Sky Tyrant army outside the city had retreated, but the Sky Tyrant soldiers who were attacking the city were in trouble. The Black Chilean City's protective formation had already enveloped the entire city. The Black Demon General and the others were trapped in Black Chilean City. Ba Fei, this is what you get. Princess Dongyu stared coldly at Ba Fei and said. Ba Fei didn't answer, but he secretly crushed several talismans. A ball of divine light instantly enveloped him. Trying to escape. Dongyu Shui was shocked. However, just as Ba Fei was about to use the power of the talisman to teleport away, Princess Dongyu had already drawn her bow and shot an arrow at Ba Fei. The arrow shot by Dongyu bow could not break through Ba Fei's protective divine light. Ba Fei did not retaliate. He flew into the sky and tried to escape. Bam! With a muffled sound, Ba Fei crashed into the invisible force field formed by the Black Chilean City's protective formation. He blacked out and a huge bump appeared on his forehead, making him dizzy. It's too late to escape now. In the center of the formation, Jiu Fei's clone said indifferently. In the next moment, a giant fist appeared in the void and smashed at Ba Fei. Ba Fei was shocked. He only had time to activate the Sky Tyrant shield and a ball of divine light enveloped him. Bam! With a muffled sound, the giant fist smashed Ba Fei down from the sky. Boom! The ground shook and a cloud of dust rose into the sky. B.A. Fei was like a meteorite, smashing a huge pit in the ground. B.A. Fei coughed out blood continuously and stood up unsteadily. Young Lord, B.A. Fei's subordinates were dumbfounded at the sight. To Ji Fei's clone, drawing the power of the formation and transforming it into an attack was the most ordinary method. But to B.A. Fei and the others, it was unbelievable. They were scared silly. B.A. Fei was protected by the Sky Tyrant shield, so he would not be killed. But he was in a difficult situation. He crawled out of the huge pit on the ground. His face was pale with fright. If not for the protection of the tyrannical heaven shield, he would have lost his life just now. At this moment, countless formation patterns intertwined in the sky above Black Chilean City. The place that Master Lin broke was about to be repaired. Retreat. B.A. Fei flew into the sky and protected himself with the Sky Tyrant shield. He held the Sky Tyrant spear and stabbed at a weak formation pattern in the sky. Swoosh. The spearhead of B.A. Fei's sky-dominating spear emitted a dazzling divine light. This spear fiercely stabbed the formation pattern of the Black Chilean City's defensive formation. Boom. With a loud sound, the sky and earth shook. The power of the Sky Tyrant spear exploded and a terrifying destructive force burst out. The formation pattern that had just been repaired collapsed in the void again. A big hole appeared on the protective formation pattern in the sky above Black Chilean City. The sleeve of B.A. Fei's right hand, which was holding the Sky Tyrant spear, shattered and turned into dust. War. B.A. Fei spat out a mouthful of blood from the recoil and fell from the sky. His right hand, which was holding the sky-dominating spear, was dripping with blood. Countless cracks had appeared on his arm, from which blood kept seeping out. A figure rushed over from the side and grabbed B.A. Fei. Then, they rushed toward the big hole in the formation pattern in the sky, trying to escape from Black Chilean City. If I let you escape so easily, wouldn't I lose face? Chapter 56-44. As a lord of the tyrannical Sky Dynasty, B.A. Fei had the tyrannical shield and tyrannical spear with him. He also had a protector by his side. Under normal circumstances, B.A. Fei's protector would not make a move easily. Even when Dong Yu Shui injured B.A. Fei with the East Moon Bow, this mysterious protector still did not make a move. However, at this time, B.A. Fei's protector had no choice but to make a move. Because if he did not make a move, even this protector would be trapped in Black Chilean City and become a turtle in a jar. By then, B.A. Fei and the others would be at the mercy of Ji Fei's clone. B.A. Fei's protector caught B.A. Fei, who was falling from the sky, and soared into the sky. He wanted to rush out of the big hole in the protective formation of Black Chilean City. As long as they could rush out of the protective formation of Black Chilean City, they would be safe. At this time, B.A. Fei had suffered a great impact, and his body was covered with wounds. He had used the tyrannical spear with all his might to break a big hole in the protective formation of Black Chilean City, and the recoil was extremely powerful. If it was not for the tyrannical shield, he would have died many times. However, Ji Fei's clone, Wang Zhon, who was in the center of the protective formation, would not let them escape so easily. These guys wanted to escape after attacking the city and wreaking havoc. There was no such thing as a free lunch in this world. Ji Fei's doppelganger, Wang Zhon, moved his mind and the entire sky above Black Chilean City immediately became turbulent. Figures emerged from the formation of Black Chilean City's city protection formation and rushed towards the gap in the formation. Countless phantoms, densely packed together, were like a terrifying army charging towards the gap in the formation diagram. B.A. Fei's protector had just popped his head out of the gap in the formation diagram. Even though the protector had a high cultivation base, a powerful battle prowess, and a vast knowledge, he was still frightened by this scene. Boom! Numerous shadows directly collided with B.A. Fei's protector and body, forcing them back into the great formation of Black Chilean City. Everyone in Black Chilean City raised their heads and looked at the sky in shock. Everyone was dumbfounded. They would never forget this scene because it was too shocking. Countless shadows rushed down from the sky, densely packed and endless, like an unstoppable flood surging into the Black Chilean City's city defense formation. What happened? B.A. Fei's subordinates were all dumbfounded. B.A. Fei had risked his life to blast a big hole in the Black Chilean City's Great Formation, but now, this big hole was filled with countless figures rushing in from the outside. Even B.A. Fei and his Tao protector were knocked down from the sky by the shadows. Although B.A. Fei and his men didn't know what was going on, they knew that it wasn't a good thing for them. This was because the shadows that had descended from the sky had actually split up and pounced towards B.A. Fei and his subordinates. Their murderous intent was earth-shattering. The Black Chilean City's Great Formation was played by Jiyu Fei's clone in a new way. No one knew that the Black Chilean City's Great Formation had such a change. Such an unbelievable attack and such a method of controlling the formation were really amazing. In fact, the formation Tao of the Limitless Realm was not as bad as Jiyu Fei's clone had imagined. However, the formation Tao of the Limitless Realm was too old-fashioned and didn't know how to change. At this moment, the power that the Black Chilean City's Great Formation had accumulated for countless years was released by Jiyu Fei's clone. This power was so strong that even Jiyu Fei's clone was a little jealous. However, with his current cultivation and the strength of his body, he simply couldn't withstand the power condensed by the Black Chilean City's Great Formation. If he could refine and devour this power, why would he need to control the formation to save Black Chilean City? If he could devour the power of the Black Chilean City's Great Formation, he could defeat B.A. Tian's army alone. Very soon, B.A. Fei's subordinates were drowned by the countless shadows that rushed down from the sky. These shadows were condensed by the power of the Black Chilean City's Great Formation. These human shadows had form, but they didn't have a physical body. An illusory figure pounced on the Black Demon Warrior and pierced through its body. In the next moment, the Black Demon General was turned into a dried corpse. All the essence in his body had been completely devoured by the shadow in an instant. B.A. Fei's subordinate, who was not far from the Black Demon General, saw this scene and was scared out of his wits. He turned around and fled. However, there were too many of these shadows. They were everywhere in the sky and on the ground. Moreover, these shadows didn't hurt anyone because they had locked onto B.A. Fei and his subordinates. Damn it! B.A. Fei's eyes turned red when he saw his subordinates turn into dry corpses. These were his subordinates that had followed him for many years and were the most loyal. However, the subordinates that he had gathered were completely annihilated. B.A. Fei's heart was bleeding. After all, he had spent a lot of effort to gather these experts. However, his efforts had been wasted. Dense sounds of collision were heard. Countless human shadows pounced on B.A. Fei and his protector, but they were all blocked by a ball of divine light around them. The power of the sky-dominating shield was still very strong. Even these human shadows couldn't break through its defense. Let's go. B.A. Fei gritted his teeth. He had suffered a great loss this time. In order to break into Black Chilean City, he had brought all his trusted subordinates. B.A. Fei's protector controlled the sky-dominating shield and soared into the sky. He rushed out of the countless human shadows. Just as they were about to rush out of the Black Chilean City's city defense formation again, a huge hand the size of a hill directly grabbed them from the sky, along with the ball of divine light around them. What? B.A. Fei was shocked. Even the Guardian was shocked to the extreme. Who was controlling the Black Chilean City's city defense formation? How could the power of this great city barrier formation be so strong? Trying to escape. I'll seal you in the sky as a public display. Jiyu Fei's clone's voice spread throughout Black Chilean City. You, B.A. Fei spat out a mouthful of blood. He was both shocked and furious. If he was really sealed as a public display, how could he continue living in the boundless realm? Ha ha, B.A. Fei, to think you'd have such a day. Dongyu Shui, who had already retreated to the side, laughed. At this time, the army of the tyrannical Sky Empire also began to retreat. Even if the reinforcements of the East Moon Empire had not arrived, they would have already lost. Chapter 56-45. Jiyu Fei's doppelganger controlled the Black Chilean City's Great Formation and sealed B.A. Fei and his Tao protector in the sky above Black Chilean City. Don't go too far. B.A. Fei's Tao protector frantically attacked the ball of divine light that was sealing them. However, his attacks only caused ripples to form on the ball of divine light. At this moment, Gu Fei's doppelganger activated the power of the entire Black Qilin city's Great Formation. This huge power surged towards Ba Fei and the others, strengthening the seal. Even though Ba Fei's protector was at the immortal state, he still could not break the seal of Gu Fei's clone. The Black Qilin city had existed for countless years. The Black Qilin city's Great City Defense Formation had been strengthened by generations of city lords. The power of the formation Dao had also reached an unimaginable level. Of course, the power gathered by the Great City Protecting Formation was not something that anyone could control. Even a formation master would not be able to make the Black Qilin city's Great Formation explode with such a powerful force. However, the person controlling the Great Formation was Gu Fei's doppelganger. His mastery of formations was incomparable to formation masters. "Phut, we're going too far?" Dongyu Shuer laughed. These guys really made her speechless. They were the ones attacking Black Qilin City. Who was the bully? Dongyu Shuer, don't go too far. Let us go and nothing will happen. If you don't, do you think my brother is a pushover? Ba Fei said while gritting his teeth. He directly brought up the overlord of the tyrannical Sky Empire. Ba Fei was the overlord of the tyrannical Sky Empire's favorite little brother. How much did the overlord of the tyrannical Sky Empire break the rules and allow Ba Fei to have his own private army? In the entire tyrannical Sky Empire, only Ba Fei could have a private army in his fief. The other lords did not have the right. If the other lords had a private army, it would be considered treason and they would be punished for it. Haha, are you threatening me? Dongyu Shuer laughed. These guys had already come to their doorstep. Who was he threatening by bringing up the overlord of the tyrannical Sky Empire? The East Moon Empire and the tyrannical Sky Empire were sworn enemies. You can understand it that way. Ba Fei sneered. Sigh. Dongyu Shuer sighed and said indifferently, I didn't want to kill you in the first place, but it looks like I need to let the tyrant Sky Sovereign know that the East Moon Empire is not a pushover either. Ba Fei was astonished by what he heard. He originally wanted to threaten Dongyu Shuer, but who would have thought that it would instead incite her killing intent? The young lord of Batian was filled with regret. However, there was no medicine for regret in this world. Wang Zhon, I know that you are in control of the Great City Barrier Formation. Don't worry, kill these two fellows for me. Dongyu Shuer said loudly, her voice echoing throughout the entire Black Qilin city. Who is Wang Zhon? Ba Fei and his protectors were both shocked and angry. No one would have thought that a small soldier like Wang Zhon would be able to control the Black Qilin city's city defense formation. Ba Fei and the others didn't know who Wang Zhon was, but the big shots in Black Qilin city were shocked when they heard his name. Wang Zhon, wasn't he the soldier who became Dongyu Shuer's personal bodyguard? This Wang Zhon was a dark horse that suddenly rose up in Black Qilin city. The big shots of Black Qilin city's Hu clan and Tu clan were dumbfounded. They never thought that the person controlling the Black Qilin city's city defense formation was their enemy. Gu Fei's clone, Wang Zhon, had previously offended the Hu clan and Tu clan. Even Tu Xiao, a direct descendant of the Tu clan, died in his hands. Even the number one of the Hu clan's younger generation was ruthlessly abused by him. Among the three clans of Black Qilin city, only the Longxiang clan didn't have any conflicts with Gu Fei's clone. When they heard that Wang Zhon was in control of the Black Qilin city's city defense formation, the big shots of the Hu clan and Tu clan couldn't remain calm. Because if Wang Zhon, who controlled the Black Qilin city's city defense formation, wanted to destroy the Hu clan and Tu clan, it would be as easy as flipping his hand. The Hu clan and Tu clan's people were all uneasy. At this moment, the number of figures in Black Qilin city was decreasing, because the subordinates that Ba Fei brought had all turned into dried corpses. Very soon, only Ba Fei and his protector were left in the entire Black Qilin city. At the same time, the army outside the city was also retreating. The commander-in-chief of the army, Wu Liang, was entangled by the city lord of Black Qilin city, Dongyu Tianxia. It wasn't easy for him to escape. However, the army of the Heaven Tyrant was indeed a seasoned army. When they retreated, they didn't collapse. Instead, they retreated in an orderly manner. Along the way, They left behind many corpses. The guards of the Dongyu Empire didn't open the city gates to chase after them, but there was a continuous rain of arrows from the top of the city walls. These arrows rained down on the retreating army. Every time the arrows rained down, the warriors of the Sky Tyrant army would raise their shields to block the arrows that fell from the sky. Wu Liang, come and save me. In the sky above Black Qilin City, Ba Fei was truly frightened when he saw the army of the Heaven Tyrant retreating outside the city. Even Wu Liang had retreated. Who would come and save him? By the time the experts of the Heaven Tyrant city arrived, he would probably be dead. Although his protector was a godly state expert, he couldn't even protect himself now. How could he protect himself? This made Ba Fei so depressed that he wanted to vomit blood. The reinforcements of the Heaven Tyrant Empire were also rushing towards Black Qilin City, but they were too far away. Wu Liang was also very depressed. He couldn't even protect himself, so how could he save Ba Fei, the good-for-nothing young lord? However, Ba Fei was the favorite of the Heaven Tyrant Emperor. If he died in Black Qilin City, he might not be able to escape death either. The Heaven Tyrant Emperor was not a kind person. Young lord, you'd better pray for your own good, Wu Liang said and immediately used his ultimate move. Rumble, 9 balls of fire rushed out from his body and shot towards Dongyu Tianxia as if they had turned into 9 divine suns. The entire void shook. You're crazy. Dongyu Tianxia had no choice but to use his full strength. A light shield appeared in front of him. The 9 balls of fire instantly hit the light shield, causing it to shatter. Dongyu Tianxia was sent flying and the 9 balls of fire dissipated into the void. Wu Liang took the opportunity to use fire escape, turning into a stream of fire and charging towards the army of the Heaven Tyrant Empire. Preposterous. Dongyu Tianxia wanted to give chase, but a strong wave of Yuan Qi erupted from the army. Wu Liang, you win, Dongyu Tianxia said viciously. At this moment, Ba Fei, who saw Wu Liang escaping, felt even more despair. What are you waiting for? In the city, Dongyu Xuera shouted. All right, I'll listen to the princess. Chapter 56-46. In the end, Jiyu Fei's doppelganger controlled the great formation of Black Qilin City and launched a counterattack. The Sky Tyrant army retreated in defeat. Wu Liang was really a ruthless person. In order to preserve his strength, he led his army to retreat, regardless of the Sky Tyrant young Lord Ba Fei who was trapped in the city. This made Ba Fei, who was trapped in Black Qilin City, shocked and angry. This guy dared to abandon him and escape. In fact, Wu Liang was also helpless. Even the formation master of the mystical heaven sect that Ba Fei invited could not break the great formation of Black Qilin City. Wu Liang did not understand formations, so he could not save Ba Fei. Moreover, he was very clear about the current situation. As long as he had an army that was good at fighting, the Sky Tyrant Emperor would not touch him easily. Young lord, it's time for you to die. The voice of Jiyu Fei's doppelganger resounded in the city. Soon, the power of the formation condensed quickly, and rays of bright arrow light appeared in the void. With a thought from Jiyu Fei's doppelganger, these arrow lights directly turned into bright arrow lights and shot towards Ba Fei and his protectors who were trapped in the light ball. The arrow lights instantly streaked across the dark void like cold lightning, and each arrow light emitted a powerful wave of vitality. This was the power of the great formation of Black Qilin City. Not to mention a divine-level expert, even a sage-level expert at the initial stage might not be able to block this attack from Jiyu Fei's doppelganger. The arrows pierced through the sealing god light around Ba Fei and his way protector, piercing through their bodies in an instant. The two screamed and fell from the sky. Ba Fei's cultivation had reached the heaven stage. Although he was seriously injured, he did not die because the vitality of a heaven stage expert was extremely strong. If it was an ordinary person, he would have died long ago. Even the creatures of the limitless realm would not be able to survive such a fatal injury. However, this was for ordinary creatures of the limitless realm. The creatures of the limitless realm would become stronger through cultivation, so their vitality would naturally become stronger. Ba Fei, I heard that you want to capture me alive and make me your feet-washing maid. Dongyu Shui descended from the sky and landed in front of Ba Fei, staring at him coldly. At this moment, Ba Fei was no longer the high and mighty young lord. His body was covered in blood and he was in a sorry state. His Dao protector was the same. They were both heavily injured, and it was difficult for them to even stand up. The two of them had completely lost the ability to fight. However, they would not die immediately. Of course, if Dongyu and Shui were willing, they could still be saved. But why would Dongyu Shui save her nemesis? Dongyu Shui, the winner takes all. I have nothing to say, but don't you dare humiliate me. No matter what, I am still a prince of the tyrannical Sky Empire. Ba Fei was still very arrogant. As a member of the Sky Tyrant royal family, he was naturally superior to everyone else. This kind of superior mentality was not something that could be cultivated in a short period of time. Haha, really? Dongyu Shui laughed and stepped forward, stomping on Ba Fei's head. I want to humiliate you, what are you going to do about it? Dongyu Shui mocked. Dongyu Shui, can't you give me some face? Ba Fei felt like vomiting blood. You're my captive now. Have you ever heard of a captive wanting to save face? Dongyu Shui smirked. You're only going to die if you kill me. Don't cross the line. Ba Fei clenched his teeth. I'm crossing the line, what are you going to do about it? Dongyu Shui said nonchalantly. You despicable and shameless woman, kill me if you have the guts. Ba Fei cursed. Fine, I'll fulfill your wish. Dongyu Shui was about to stomp Ba Fei to death. Wait. At that instant, a voice was heard. A figure came from afar and landed in front of Dongyu Shui. The crowd was startled when they saw the newcomer. It was the strongest warrior of Black Qilin City, Longxiang Man. What? You want to save him? Dongyu Shui's tone turned cold. Please don't misunderstand, Your Highness. Why would I save an enemy? I just feel that if I keep him alive, I might gain something unexpected. Longxiang Man said respectfully. Dongyu Shui pondered for a moment before nodding. A living Ba Fei was definitely more valuable than a dead one. There was no doubt about that. Furthermore, killing Ba Fei would completely offend the tyrannical empire. The tyrannical empire would not let it go so easily. Take him away. Dongyu Shui waved her hand impatiently. Yes, Your Highness. Two warriors immediately walked up and carried the heavily injured Ba Fei away. As for Ba Fei's protector, he was not as lucky. Longxiang Man went forward and killed Ba Fei's protector right away. As Wu Liang led the tyrannical empire's army to retreat, Black Qilin City's crisis was resolved. The East Moon Empire's reinforcements were about to arrive too. However, the reinforcements did not come in time. Meanwhile, the tyrannical empire's reinforcements were still advancing toward Black Qilin City. The commander of the reinforcements was the war god Ba Chenkuan of the tyrannical empire. He was a peak divine level expert and the most impressive warrior in the tyrannical empire. At this moment, a golden figure flew across the sky and landed on Ba Chenkuan's left shoulder. What? Wu Liang lost? Ba Chenkuan was taken aback. He never thought that Wu Liang would lose. It had to be mentioned that Wu Liang had already defeated the army of the East Moon Empire, forcing the remnants of the empire to retreat to Black Qilin City. However, Wu Liang had lost. Furthermore, even the young Prince Ba Fei had fallen in Black Qilin City. How could this be? Full speed ahead. Ba Chenkuan ordered. The army immediately sped up. Ba Chenkuan did not care if Wu Liang was defeated, but Ba Fei could not die. This was because Ba Fei was a direct descendant of the tyrannical empire. The scouts of the East Moon Empire were also keeping an eye on the reinforcements of the tyrannical empire. The news soon reached Black Qilin City. Ba Chenkuan is personally leading an army here? Very good. Dongyu Shui sneered in the city lord's residence of Black Qilin City. Your Highness, looks like the tyrannical empire is determined to fight us to the death this time. Longxiang Man said with a solemn expression. They've come at the right time. Killing Ba Chenkuan is equivalent to cutting off the tyrannical Sky Emperor's right-hand man. This is definitely a heavy blow to the tyrannical empire, Dongyu Shuera said excitedly. As long as they crippled the reinforcements of the tyrannical empire, the East Moon Empire would be able to gain the upper hand in this battle. The East Moon Empire might be able to suppress the tyrannical empire. However, to defeat the reinforcements of the tyrannical empire, it still depended on Jiyu Fei's clone. Chapter 56-47. The inconspicuous Wang Zhon, who was often bullied by the ruffians in the military camp, had now become a hot commodity in everyone's eyes. Wang Zhon's rise was too fast, so fast that it was unbelievable. It was so fast that everyone began to doubt their lives. Was there really a peerless genius in this world? The important figures of the Hu clan and the Tu clan, on the other hand, had complicated feelings, because they had many conflicts with this Wang Zhon. Especially the Tu clan in the east of the city. Tu Xiao, a direct descendant of the Tu clan, had died in Wang Zhon's hands. Of course, when Wang Zhon killed Tu Xiao, the people in the east of the city clapped their hands in joy, because this guy was really full of evil. It was good that he died. Killing a tyrant could save countless people. Wang Zhon was exterminating evil and promoting good. However, the Tu clan did not think so. Although Tu Xiao was bad and a tyrant in the east of the city, he was still a direct descendant of the Tu clan. If a direct descendant of the Tu clan was killed, how could they accept it? However, at this time, the Tu clan did not dare to get even with Jiyu Fei's clone, Wang Zhon, because Wang Zhon was no longer the soldier in the east of the city camp. Wang Zhon was now the favorite of the princess of the Dongyu Empire. When the lanterns were lit, Black Chelin City was decorated with lanterns and streamers. Everyone was celebrating the defeat of the invading army. The families of the soldiers who died in the battle would receive a large compensation, so that they would not have to worry about their livelihood. In this aspect, the Dongyu Empire did a good job. It was no wonder that the soldiers of the Dongyu Empire were so powerful and reckless when they fought. They knew that even if they died in the battle, their families would be protected by the empire, and they would not have to worry about food or clothing. At this time, the city lord's residence was very lively. All the important figures in Black Chelin City had come. Dongyu Shuera set up a banquet to reward them according to their contributions. Jiyu Fei's clone also left the small house where the formation was located with the black tiger, and came to the gate of a small square behind the city lord's residence. "Brother, you look unfamiliar. Are you a descendant of the Hu clan, the Tu clan, or the Longxiang clan?" At this time, a slender young man in white came to the side of Jiyu Fei's clone with a folding fan. "Guess." Jiyu Fei's doppelganger smiled. The young man folded his fan and sized up Jiyu Fei's doppelganger. Then he shook his head and said, "I can't guess. I know most of the young generation in Black Chelin City, but it's my first time seeing you, brother. Who are you?" Jiyu Fei's avatar couldn't help but be a little curious about this young man. This guy actually knew the younger generation disciples of the Hu family, Tu family, and Longxiang family. It seemed like he had some background. My surname is Dongyu, and my name is Heng." The white-robed young man said proudly. "Oh, so you're a disciple of the East Moon Imperial family. No wonder you have such an extraordinary bearing," Jiyu Fei's doppelganger said in realization. Dongyu Heng was very happy. However, Jiyu Fei's clone was even more curious. This Dongyu Heng was a member of the Dongyu royal family. With his identity, why would he hang out with the young generation of Black Chelin City? To Dongyu Heng, who was a member of the Dongyu royal family, this was a bit degrading. "Brother Heng, who is this guy? He's a cripple without any cultivation. How did he get into the city lord's mansion?" At this moment, a voice was heard. Then, a figure walked over from afar. "Brother Hu Wei?" Dongyu Heng couldn't help but frown when he saw who it was. This Hu Wei was not simple. He was a well-known figure among the Earth-rank experts of the Black Chelin City's Hu family. Moreover, he was not old, in his 30s, but he had cultivated to the middle realm of the Earth-rank. The previous Earth-rank battle general Hu Feng was nothing in front of Hu Wei. Hu Feng was only a branch family member, and his cultivation was only at the initial realm of the Earth-rank, while Hu Wei was a direct descendant of the Hu family, and had the cultivation of the middle realm of the Earth-rank. Whether it was his background or cultivation, Hu Feng was completely crushed by Hu Wei. This is not a place for a little cat or dog. Hu Wei looked at Ji Yufei's clone in disdain, and the black tiger beside Ji Yufei's clone was directly ignored by him. Ji Yufei's clone concealed his presence, so no one could sense his cultivation. In the eyes of Dong Yuheng, Hu Wei, and the others, he was just a piece of trash without any cultivation at all. At this moment, Ji Yufei's clone was really a bit depressed. What's wrong with this guy? He attacked me for no reason as soon as he arrived. This guy must be crazy. If it wasn't for Princess Dongyu forcing him to attend the banquet, he would not have come here. Where did this guy come from? Why is his mouth so stinky? Ji Yufei's clone said as he waved his hand in front of him. What did you say? Say it again if you have the guts. Hu Wei was instantly enraged as he stared at Ji Yufei's clone. TSK, do you think I'm afraid of you biting me? You idiot. Ji Yufei's clone raised his middle finger at Hu Wei. Little guy, you're dead. Hu Wei said as he was about to attack. Brother Hu Wei, please calm down. Dong Yuheng saw that Hu Wei was about to attack Ji Yufei's clone, but he silently stood between the two. Brother Heng, are you going to stand up for this trash? Hu Wei said coldly. Brother Hu Wei, with your status, why bother with this little brother? Dong Yuheng said indifferently. Ch, trash should go where trash should go. I won't be associated with trash. Hu Wei raised his nose and said proudly. You're F** King Awesome, aren't you? Calling me trash again and again. I've tolerated you for a long time. Do you believe that I won't turn you into trash? Ji Yufei's clone flipped out. Kind people get bullied, kind horses get ridden. Did I ever offend you? Preposterous. Hu Wei was instantly enraged and was about to attack. What are you guys doing? At this moment, a figure walked out from the door. Commander Yang. Hu Wei was overjoyed when he saw the person. He had always been pursuing Yang Fei Yun. Yang Fei Yun was the princess's guard captain and the commander. It's you. Yang Fei Yun showed a look of disgust when he saw Hu Wei. Is Commander Yang here to welcome me? Hu Wei said excitedly. He had long thrown Ji Yufei's doppelganger out of his mind. You think you're worthy? A female guard behind Yang Fei Yun sneered. Hu Wei's expression immediately froze, feeling extremely awkward. At this moment, Ji Yufei Yun's clone turned around and was about to leave with Black Tiger. Where are you going? Yang Fei Yun quickly stopped Ji Yufei's clone. What? Hu Wei was shocked and angry. Did Yang Fei Yun personally come out to welcome this trash without any cultivation? Didn't this guy say that I'm trash? That I'm not qualified to be here? If I don't leave, am I supposed to stay here and continue to be scolded? Ji Yufei Yun's clone shrugged and said helplessly. Wang Zhon is trash. Are you kidding me? Yang Fei Yun was shocked. What, his Wang Zhon? Chapter 56-48. Dong Yushue was a little annoyed that her personal guard Wang Zhon did not come. She directly sent the guard captain Yang Fei Yun to take a look. Who would have thought that Yang Fei Yun saw an interesting scene as soon as he walked out of the square? Hu Wei from the Tiger clan had gone crazy. He actually attacked Wang Zhon, who had just arrived for no reason. Perhaps he was in a bad mood and wanted to find someone to vent his anger on. However, he never thought that he found the wrong person. Although Hu Wei had long heard of Wang Zhon's name, he had never seen Wang Zhon in person. When he first saw a guy without any cultivation talking to Dong Yuheng, he thought that this guy was easy to bully. However, who would have thought that the trash in his eyes was the famous little soldier Wang Zhon of Black Chilin City? Of course, no one knew that Wang Zhon had already become a clone of Ji Yufei in the Limitless Realm. Otherwise, why would the coward Wang Zhon be so arrogant? You're Wang Zhon? Hu Wei stared at the young man in front of him with an extremely interesting expression. He never thought that the legendary little soldier Wang Zhon was actually this ordinary-looking guy. Unexpected, completely unexpected. It was too unexpected, too shocking. Because he knew that it was this guy who controlled Black Chilin City's city defense formation and turned the tide of the battle. In the eyes of everyone in Black Chilin City, Wang Zhon was now the savior. He saved the lives of everyone in the city and was the superhero of Black Chilin City. At this time, who dared to offend Wang Zhon, who had the halo of a hero? I'm just a trash. Ji Fe's clone said indifferently. Hu Wei's forehead was sweating. Who dares to call you trash? Is that guy an idiot? Yang Feiyun smiled. Hearing that, Hu Wei's expression changed several times. He was extremely embarrassed. This was really a slap to the face. Moreover, he could not lose his temper and could only endure it. Dong Yu Heng did not say anything. He wanted to laugh, but he did not dare to. It was uncomfortable to hold it in. Although he was a member of the Dongyu royal family, he was actually not considered a direct descendant of the royal family. He was only a side branch. This was also the reason why he could hang out with Hu Wei and the others. The status of the side branches of the royal family in the Dongyu Empire was not very high. The only ones with truly noble status in the Dongyu Empire were the direct descendants of the royal family. In the East Moon imperial family, bloodline was very important. They were both surnamed Dongyu, were both members of the imperial family, and shared the same ancestor. However, the bloodline of the main branch would always be more noble than the bloodline of the side branches. It was as simple as that. There is indeed a fool here. Tell Her Royal Highness that I won't be joining in this banquet. After saying that, Ji Fe's doppelganger glanced at Hu Wei before turning to leave. Wang Zhon, where are you going? Yang Feiyun wanted to stop Ji Fe's doppelganger. However, Ji Fe's doppelganger simply ignored her and left with the black tiger. Her Royal Highness asked me to invite you. You dare to leave? When Yang Feiyun saw that Ji Fe's avatar was really going to leave, he couldn't help feeling anxious and shouted at Ji Fe's avatar. Who is this person? He actually wants Her Royal Highness to send her guard captain to invite him? There were many people at the entrance of the small square. When they heard Yang Feiyun's words, they all looked at Ji Fe's doppelganger and the black tiger in surprise and curiosity. Yang Feiyun was the guard captain of Her Royal Highness's side. In Black Chilin City, many people knew her. Who was this ordinary-looking young man? One had to know that whether it was the patriarch of the Tiger clan, the patriarch of the Tu clan, or even the patriarch of the Longxiong clan, none of them were qualified for Her Royal Highness to send a guard captain to invite them. At most, she would just order someone to send an invitation. Tell Her Royal Highness that I don't want to be associated with fools. After saying that, Ji Fe's doppelganger directly left with the black tiger. Don't want to be associated with fools? What's going on? Yang Feiyun was depressed. However, if he couldn't invite Wang Zhon, how was he going to explain himself? Who the F***ck is a fool? Yang Feiyun roared at Hu Wei and Dong Yueheng. You said that there were only the two of us outside. Which one of us looks like a fool? Dong Yueheng said with a faint smile. Hu Wei didn't say anything. If there was a crack on the ground, he would have already dove into it. Hu Wei, look what you've done. Yang Feiyun glared at Hu Wei and gritted his teeth. Ji Fe's doppelganger was the great hero who saved Black Chilin City. It was obvious that Hu Wei had offended this great hero. Otherwise, why wouldn't he come in since he was already at the door? Guard Yang, who offended you? At this moment, the patriarch of the Tiger clan, Hu Xiaoyu, walked over from afar. Your good nephew made Wang Zhon leave in anger. Let's see how you're going to explain yourself to Her Royal Highness. After saying that, Yang Feiyun directly turned around and walked into the small plaza to look for Princess Dongyu. What? Hu Xiaoyu was stunned when he heard that. It took him a while to regain his senses. Pa. Hu Xiaoyu waved his right hand, giving Hu Wei a resounding slap across the face. Hu Wei's left cheek immediately swelled up, and a trace of blood seeped out from the corner of his mouth. You idiot! Hu Xiaoyu's face flushed red with anger. Grabbing Hu Wei by the collar like an eagle grabbing a little chick, he strode through the main entrance to find the princess and apologize for his transgression. At this moment, Hu Wei was completely obedient and didn't even dare to let out a fart. Nephew, won't Her Royal Highness be unhappy if we don't attend the banquet? Black Tiger, who was following behind Ji Fe's doppelganger, said carefully. Uncle Black, don't worry. Not only will Her Royal Highness not blame you, She might even reward you. Ji Yufei's doppelganger laughed. In the eyes of the mystic black tiger, the current Wang Zhong gave off an unfathomable feeling. He was getting more and more unfathomable, as though he was a completely different person. However, the more powerful his nephew was, the more Her Royal Highness would value him. Naturally, there would be plenty of benefits. Black Tiger was ecstatic. By following his nephew, he could also live well. Especially now that his nephew had saved Black Chilean City and become a hero in everyone's eyes. Although Black Tiger didn't know how Wang Zhong had suddenly become so powerful, it wasn't important to him. What was important was that his nephew had soared through the ranks. Moreover, his nephew, who had achieved meteoric success, did not forget his uncle. Ji Yufei's doppelganger brought Black Tiger back to the unremarkable house. Why did you come back? The middle-aged man guarding the house couldn't help but be startled when he saw Ji Yufei's doppelganger. By now, he had already prostrated himself in admiration of Ji Yufei's doppelganger. Can't I come back? Ji Yufei's doppelganger said indifferently. No, this lowly one is more than happy to have you back. The middle-aged man smiled apologetically. Although this fellow was young, his array formation cultivation was unfathomable. In the middle-aged man's eyes, Ji Yufei's doppelganger was definitely an expert who hid his identity and cultivation. Moreover, one's appearance didn't mean anything in the limitless realm. Some people could live for billions of years and still look like a 5 or 6-year-old child. In the limitless realm, cultivation and strength were the most important. Wang Zhong, you're awesome now. Even my face isn't useful anymore. At this moment, a voice rang out and a figure appeared in the small house. Chapter 56-49. The sudden appearance of the princess of the East Moon Empire in the formation space surprised Ji Yufei's clone. He was as calm as an old dog, but the middle-aged man and the black tiger guarding the center of the formation were scared out of their wits by Dongyu Shue'er's sudden appearance. Your Highness, greets Your Highness. The middle-aged man immediately knelt down in front of Dongyu Shue'er with a terrified expression. Not only was Dongyu Shue'er the princess of the East Moon Empire, but she was also a heaven rank expert. The aura of a heaven rank expert was enough to frighten the middle-aged man. The black tiger was in an even worse state, directly lying on the ground and trembling. The black tiger was only a veteran. He did not have a powerful cultivation, but he often participated in battles and struggled on the edge of life and death, so he had a lot of battle experience. However, under the heaven rank aura that Dongyu Shue'er intentionally or unintentionally released, even his soul was trembling. Your Royal Highness, please retract your magical powers. Ji Yufei's clone sat in the center of the formation center and said indifferently. The aura he released to Dongyu Shue'er was like a spring breeze. It did not affect him at all. What ability? Dongyu Shue'er looked at Ji Yufei's clone in the center of the formation with a faint smile. However, she still completely concealed her aura. However, she did not have the ability of Ji Yufei's clone. Although she could conceal her aura, she could not completely hide her cultivation. Therefore, Ji Yufei's clone could still sense Dongyu Shue'er's cultivation. Heaven rank initial realm. Although Ji Yufei's clone was only at the earth rank initial realm, Dongyu Shue'er could not see through Ji Yufei's cultivation. Dongyu Shue'er was really curious about what kind of fortuitous encounter this little soldier called Wang Zhong had. Did he really have an extremely powerful master behind him? When Dongyu Shue'er learned that it was Ji Yufei's clone who controlled Black Chilean City's formation and turned the tide of the battle, she became even more curious. It was impossible for a lowly soldier like Wang Zhong to have such ability. If he didn't receive some kind of incredible inheritance, then he had an extremely powerful master supporting him from behind. There were only two explanations. Otherwise, how could he explain it? Ji Yufei's doppelganger naturally wouldn't reveal his secret. Therefore, no matter how hard Dongyu Shue'er tried, there was no way she could come up with anything. May I know why Your Highness is looking for me? Ji Yufei's doppelganger laughed. Wang Zhong, now that you've become a hero, you've become arrogant. Dongyu Shue'er said coldly. Am I floating? Who said that? Ji Yufei's doppelganger said disapprovingly. I will. Dongyu Shue'er shouted. Sigh, I didn't even know I was floating. How did Her Royal Highness know? Ji Yufei said helplessly. You seem to have forgotten your own identity. If this isn't arrogance, then what is? Dongyu Shui crossed her arms in front of her chest and said proudly. Ah, haha, this lowly one is your personal guard. How could this lowly one forget my identity? Ji Yufei's doppelganger looked terrified. It's good that you know. Why didn't you attend the banquet? Dongyu Shui asked. Ji Yufei's doppelganger's face showed a hint of disdain. Your Royal Highness, don't overthink it. This lowly one just doesn't want to be associated with some idiots. You mean that idiot Hu Wei? Dongyu Shui said in a deep voice. Dongyu Shui already knew about what happened at the entrance of the city lord's residence. Hu Wei had gone crazy for some reason, insulting Wang Zhong as soon as he arrived, directly angering him. At this time, Hu Wei was being taught a terrible lesson by the clan lord. In the forbidden area of the Tiger clan, Hu Wei's intestines were green with regret. He was punished by the clan lord to face the wall in the forbidden area for 30 years. How was he supposed to spend the next 30 years? There was nothing in the forbidden area, and he had to stay here for 30 years. Just the thought of it was driving him crazy. Of course, no one could save Hu Wei at this time. In truth, this was also Hu Xiaoyu's way of protecting Hu Wei. Hu Wei was a mid-level Earth-class expert of the Hu clan, and for a cultivation clan like the Hu clan that wasn't very strong, it wasn't easy to raise an Earth-class expert. In Black Qilin City, the Tiger clan could be said to be one of the top forces, but outside of Black Qilin City, who would take them seriously? This was a very practical matter. Ji Yufei's doppelganger didn't say anything. Why bother with an idiot? Dongyu Shui smiled. Who said I'm going to bother with that guy? Ji Yufei's doppelganger smiled bitterly. He really didn't take Hu Wei seriously. He was Ji Yufei's doppelganger. Ji Yufei had seen all kinds of people. Even infinite primes had been defeated by him. What was a mere Hu Wei worth? Dongyu Shui still wanted to say something. But at this time, a loud sound rang out, and the entire core of the formation shook violently. What? Dongyu Shui was shocked. Hand over Tyrant Fei, a voice rang out. Interesting. Ji Yufei's doppelganger waved his right hand, and a screen of light appeared in the center of the formation. Countless images appeared on the screen. Outside Black Qilin City, the weather changed, and the sun and moon dimmed. A terrifying figure stood in the sky above the city, looking down at the people below like a supreme ruler. What, it's him? Dongyu Shui was shocked when she saw who it was. Your Highness knows who this person is. Ji Yufei's doppelganger was as steady as Mount Tai, without the slightest hint of panic. You don't even recognize him? He's the war god of the tyrannical Sky Empire, Tyrant Chenkuan. Shui's voice trembled as she spoke. Tyrant Chenkuan is here in person. What should we do? Shui panicked. Tyrant Chenkuan was too famous. He was the war god of the tyrannical Sky Empire. He was the main reason why the tyrannical Sky Empire was as powerful as it was today. More than 60% of the tyrannical Sky Empire's territory was the result of the war god's wars. If Tyrant Chenkuan wanted to be the ruler of the tyrannical Sky Empire, why would the current ruler of the tyrannical Sky Empire take the throne? But now, the famous war god of the tyrannical Sky Empire had come to Black Qilin City in person. This was going to be troublesome. Phut, we'll deal with it when it comes. So what if he's the war god? Ji Yufei's doppelganger did not think much of it. The name Tyrant Chenkuan was heaven-defying, but whether he lived up to his name or not, he had to fight to find out. Good, you're ambitious. I'll leave it to you then. I'll enjoy your performance here. Dongyu Shui actually refused to leave. At that moment, everyone in the city was terrified. No one expected the people of the tyrannical Sky Empire to arrive so quickly. The joy did not last for long before the city fell into panic again. Chapter 5650. When the Sky Overlord War God arrived, Dongyu Shui, who had just defeated the army and captured young Lord Ba Fei, was dumbfounded. The entire city fell into panic. After all, the person who arrived this time was not someone young Lord Ba Fei or Wu Liang could compare to. It was the famous Sky Overlord war god, the Sky Overlord Empire, the war god of a generation. People like him could no longer be described as veterans. Tyrant Chen Kuan had experienced countless battles, big and small, in his entire life. He had fought more than a dozen battles to save the tyrannical Sky Empire from destruction. In other words, without the Sky Overlord war god, the Sky Overlord Empire would have been destroyed more than a dozen times. In the boundless realm, even ordinary creatures had a long lifespan. The Sky Overlord war god was the main reason why the Sky Overlord Empire was able to survive for so long. Even the princess of the Dongyu Empire was scared out of her wits in front of such a powerful person. Hand over Ba Fei, or I'll slaughter the entire city. An imposing voice came from outside the city again. Slaughter the entire city? I'll slaughter you first. In the formation center of Black Chilean City, Ji Yufei's clone was very disdainful. He waved his right hand, and a dazzling sword light rushed out of Black Chilean City, piercing through the domineering figure outside the city. The sword light was like lightning, piercing through the figure in an instant. The person sneered and waved his hand casually. The piercing sword light shattered in the void, turning into specks of light and disappearing. With a wave of his hand, the sword light was destroyed. This move of the person in the sky shocked the big shots in the city. Is it really the Sky Overlord war god? Some people did not believe it before, but after seeing the means and bearing of the person in the sky, they had no choice but to believe it. In fact, the Sky Overlord war god had come so quickly because he had spent a lot of money. He had used a supreme-grade teleportation talisman to send 30,000 vanguards to Black Chilean City. Although it was only 30,000 vanguards, they were elites under the Sky Overlord war god's command. They had followed the Sky Overlord war god to conquer the world and made great contributions. There were only 30,000 of them, but they had the aura of 1,000,000 lions. The 30,000 elites of Overlord Battle God surrounded Black Chilean City once again. Moreover, although there were more than 100,000 soldiers in Black Chilean City, none of them dared to kill their way out of the city. Dongyu and Shuai felt very aggrieved that the entire city was surrounded by 30,000 soldiers. Meanwhile, Dongyu Shuai was hiding in an inconspicuous hut in the city lord's manor. Although she said that she wanted to see the performance of Ji Yufei's clone, she was actually too nervous to go out. How dare you attack the war god? Outside the city, a general stood up and roared. Kill, kill, kill. Outside the city, the 30,000 soldiers of the heaven-dominating divine army raised their arms and roared. Their voices shook the sky, and their imposing manner was like a rainbow. Everyone in the city became even more terrified. Even Long Xiong Man, who was standing on top of the eastern city gate, felt his scalp go numb when he saw the murderous aura of the heaven tyrant divine army outside the city. Sigh, I didn't want to start a massacre, but you guys don't know what's good for you. Since that's the case, let's begin. High up in the sky, the domineering figure said helplessly. Haha, the laughter of Ji Yufei's clone could be heard from Black Chilean City. You're quite an interesting guy. You're the god of slaughter, but you act like you're compassionate. Don't you find it funny? The voice of Ji Yufei's clone continued to be heard from Black Chilean City. Hearing that, the figure in the sky immediately shot out a sharp gaze. It's been a long time since someone dared to talk to me like that. Even the Sky Tyrant Imperial Lord has to be respectful to me. Who is that guy in the city? Is he more powerful than the Sky Tyrant Imperial Lord? How dare you disrespect the war god? The generals under Overlord Battle God were instantly enraged. You guys are going to massacre the city, why would I respect you? Ji Yufei's clone sneered. How dare you? You deserve to die. The generals under the sky-dominating battle god were furious. One must know that in their hearts, the sky-dominating battle god was a supreme god. He was invincible and invincible. No one in East Moon Empire or Sky Tyrant Empire dared to look down on Overlord Battle God. But now, there was someone in Black Chilean City who dared to disrespect Overlord Battle God. This made the generals under Overlord Battle God extremely unhappy. I'm in the city. Come and kill me if you dare. Ji Yufei's clone said proudly. Damn it. Preposterous. The generals under Overlord Battle God couldn't wait to charge into Black Chelene City and tear the guy who spoke into pieces. The war god couldn't be insulted. Kill. Unable to bear it anymore, the war god army outside the East City Gate began to attack the city. 10,000 soldiers in black armor held shields and spears and attacked the city gate in unison. Every time the orderly footsteps rang out, the ground would shake. Outside the East City Gate, smoke and dust filled the air. Hum. At the same time, there was a deafening sound in the sky above Black Chelene City. Then, the Black Chelene City defense formation was activated. In fact, when Overlord Battle God arrived, Gu Fei's clone had already activated the defense formation. Otherwise, Overlord Battle God would have charged into Black Chelene City personally. The sky-dominating Battle Immortal was a half-step sage. If he were to charge into Black Chelene City, no one in the city would be a match for him. He could destroy the entire Black Chelene City alone. This was the power and terror of Overlord Battle God, who was half-step sage. But now, the defense formation of Black Chelene City was fully activated. Even someone as powerful as Overlord Battle God wouldn't dare to charge into Black Chelene City. Because the defense formation of Black Chelene City was emitting waves of energy that made his heart palpitate. For countless years, the defense formation of Black Chelene City had gathered a huge amount of spiritual energy. It was not a joke. Shoot! Long Xiong Man roared on top of the city gate. Swoosh! There was a rain of arrows on top of the city gate. A rain of arrows fell from the sky, directly falling on the formation of the Sky Tyrant Divine Army. In the next moment, the sound of metal colliding rang out. When the sharp arrows hit the bodies of the Divine Army soldiers wearing black armor, sparks flew, and all of them were bounced off. The soldiers of Overlord Divine Army were wearing heavy armor and helmets. Even their hands were wearing impenetrable gloves. This kind of defense had no blind spots. The arrows rained down, but not a single God's Army soldier fell. How is this possible? Chapter 56-51. The 30,000 elites under the Sky Overlord War God began to attack the city. The army under Wu Liang's command was not comparable to the army under Wu Liang's command. Although there were only 30,000 people, their battle prowess was much stronger than an army of 1,000,000. Kill. The cry of 30,000 people was earth-shattering. The murderous aura made the world pale. The army under the Sky Overlord War God really lives up to its reputation. Longxiang Man couldn't help but be shocked when he saw this scene. The Sky Overlord Divine Army was known as the strongest army of the Sky Overlord Empire. However, the army of the East Moon Empire is not to be trifled with. Longxiang Man personally supervised the battle. He was the #1 general of Black Chelene City. Of course, compared to the war god, Longxiang Man was nothing. Even the city lord of Black Chelene City, Dongyu Tianxia, was a joke in front of Tyrant Chenkuan. Perhaps only the #1 general of the East Moon Empire, Dongyu Lingxiao, might be able to fight against Tyrant Chenkuan. Of course, these two war gods enjoyed supreme prestige in their respective empires. However, the two of them had never fought before. This was a miracle for the East Moon Empire and the Sky Overlord Empire that had been fighting for countless years. Change to armor-piercing arrows. Longxiang Man roared. Yes. The guards on the city wall received the order in unison. The soldiers on the city wall skillfully operated the crossbows fixed on the city wall and changed to armor-piercing arrows. Fire! Longxiang Man roared. In the next moment, leather-armored arrows shot towards the Sky Tyrant Divine Army that was attacking the city like black lightning bolts. However, the barbarian dragon elephant was dumbfounded to see that the armor-piercing arrows bounced off the Sky Tyrant warriors' bodies, and every single one of the Sky Tyrant warriors' bodies was covered in array patterns. What? Longxiang Man knew that Black Chelene City was probably doomed this time. There were formation patterns on the soldiers of the Sky Overlord Divine Army. How could they fight when 30,000 people were linked together? Even if the armor-piercing arrows hit the soldiers or their shields, they still couldn't hurt them at all. Kill. The barbarian dragon elephant roared and swung the saber in his hand down from the top of the city wall. Behind him were countless citizens of Black Chelene City. As the first general of Black Chelene City, anyone could retreat, but he couldn't. As a general of the East Moon Empire, protecting the empire was his duty. For generations, the Dragon Elephant clan had held military power in the East Moon Empire and held great authority. Furthermore, the generals from the clan were all loyal to the East Moon Empire. Clang! Dragon Elephant Barbarian fiercely slashed at the shield of a fighter. In the next moment, he felt an incomparably powerful force explode from his opponent's shield. A layer of runes appeared in the void, enveloping the entire square formation of the warriors. The power of 30,000 soldiers was linked together through the formation. This power was unstoppable, and it was not something that the Dragon Elephant Barbarian army could contend against. The barbarian Dragon Elephant roared as he was sent flying and slammed into the city wall. Then, he slid down the wall and knelt on one knee. Drops of blood continuously dripped onto the ground. Both of his hands were torn by the recoil force, and blood continuously seeped out from the corners of his mouth. Boom! At this moment, there was a loud bang. The phalanx formed by the 30,000 Sky Tyrant soldiers directly collided with the city protection formation of Black Chilin City and actually broke a big hole in the city protection formation. What, in the small house of the city lord's residence, Jiyu Fei's clone could not help but frown when he saw this. He had thought that the formations in the Infinite Realm were only SOSO. Who would have thought that the Sky Tyrant soldiers could actually form a battle formation? The power of 30,000 people was linked together through the battle formation. The power gathered in such a way was not as simple as 1 + 1. Moreover, the condensed power fiercely attacked a point of the Black Chilin City's Great City Protection Formation. Using the point to attack the surface, it actually broke a big hole in the Black Chilin City Protection Formation. The reason was very simple. The Black Chilin City's City Protection Formation was not strong enough. As long as the Black Chilin City's City Protection Formation was strong enough, no matter how powerful the Sky Tyrant soldiers were, they would not be able to shake the formation. The Black Chilin City's City Protection Formation was broken just like that. Outside the core of the formation, seeing the scene on the light screen, Dongyu Shuer could not help but exclaim, "Why don't you show me what you've got?" Dongyu Shuer anxiously said to Jiyu Fei's clone in the core of the formation. "What's the rush?" Jiyu Fei's clone sat in the center of the formation, as steady as an old dog. No, it should be as steady as a mountain. Moreover, he was not panicking at all. Why should he panic? The strongest power of the Black Chilin City's formation was not outside the town, but inside the formation. Outside the formation, even if Jiyu Fei's clone's formation mastery was high, he would not be able to help. However, inside the formation, it was different. The formation was his territory. As long as the Sky Tyrant Divine Army attacked the city, he would be able to do whatever he wanted to the 30,000 Sky Tyrant Divine Army in his territory. The formation is broken, why aren't you doing anything? Dongyu Shuer was dumbfounded. So be it. It's not my city. Jiyu Fei's clone said indifferently. Hearing this, Dongyu Shuer was speechless from anger. The black-robed middle-aged man and black tiger trembled, not daring to speak. The city is broken, many people will die. Dongyu Shuer looked at the 30,000 Sky Tyrant Divine Army charging towards the city gate anxiously. What does it have to do with me? Jiyu Fei's clone was even more indifferent. How did you become so cold-blooded? Dongyu Shuer was furious. Sigh, this has nothing to do with being cold-blooded. It's just that I'm not strong enough. Sky Tyrant War God is here, can you stop him? Jiyu Fei's clone said helplessly. This, Dongyu Shuer was speechless. I don't care. You're my guard, you have to listen to me. I want you to activate the formation and stop the Sky Tyrant Divine Army. Dongyu Shuer said loudly. I'll try my best. I'm not strong enough, I can only make up for it with the formation. Jiyu Fei's clone shook his head and sighed. Your Highness, if I can defeat the Sky Tyrant War God, what reward will you give me? Jiyu Fei's clone was not in a hurry to act. Instead, he smiled and said to Dongyu Shuer, You still want a reward? Dongyu Shuer didn't know whether to laugh or cry at Jiyu Fei's clone. What kind of situation was this? And this guy was still thinking about how to get benefits from me. As the saying goes, There will always be a brave man under a generous reward. If your highness rewards this lowly one might even be able to defeat the sky tyrant war god. The corner of Jiu Fei's clone's mouth rose, revealing a cold smile. Dongyu Shuai pointed at Jiu Fei's clone angrily. Fine, if you can defeat the sky tyrant war god, as long as this princess can do it, I'll give you any reward you want. Dongyu Shuai said loudly. In her opinion, who was the sky tyrant war god? He was the #1 war god of the sky tyrant empire. Even Longxiang Lingxiao might not be able to defeat him. Although this Wang Zhong was strong, was it possible to defeat the sky tyrant war god? Chapter 56-52. Jiu Fei's clone was really quite naughty. He was actually trying to trick Princess Dongyu. Haha, as expected of the princess. Can I really get any reward I want? Jiu Fei's doppelganger laughed happily. Really? Even if you want me to wash your feet, I'll do it. Is that enough? Princess Dongyu was about to go crazy from anger because of Jiu Fei's clone. What kind of situation was this? Yet this guy was still chattering away. The Empyrean Divine Army was about to charge into the city. That's what you said. You can't go back on your word when the time comes. Jiu Fei's clone was even happier. I won't go back on my word, I definitely won't. I swear to the heavenly ways that if I go back on my word, I'll be destroyed by the heavenly tribulation. You don't have to worry about me going back on my word now. Princess Dongyu gritted her teeth. She only wanted this guy to quickly activate the protective formation. She only wanted to protect Black Qilin City. As for defeating the Empyrean war god, she did not even dare to think about it. She just treated it as Wang Zhong's nonsense, because his opponent was the Empyrean war god, the #1 war god of the Empyrean Empire. Even the #1 war god of the East Moon Empire, Dongyu Lingxiao, would not dare to say he could defeat the Empyrean war god. In Dongyu Shuai's eyes, although Wang Zhong had some fortuitous encounters, he definitely could not compare to Dongyu Lingxiao, let alone defeat the Empyrean war god. That was why she swore an oath without any hesitation. That was an oath to the heavenly ways. The unbounded realm's heavenly law could not be compared to the heavenly law of other worlds. The unbounded realm was the most perfect and top-notch superworld among all the worlds that Jiu Fei knew of. How big was this world? It was so big that even infinite primes did not know how big it was. It was easy to imagine how powerful the heavenly ways of such a huge and perfect world were. As a result, if Jiu Fei's clone really defeated the Empyrean war god and Dongyu Shuai did not keep her promise, the heavenly ways would send down punishment. She would definitely be destroyed. Even infinite primes would not be able to save her. You're awesome. Jiu Fei's clone gave Dongyu Shuai a thumbs up from the core of the formation, as he knew very well how terrifying an oath to the heavenly way was. Please, don't talk nonsense. Hurry up and start. When Dongyu Shuai saw the screen of light above the core of the formation, she wanted nothing more than to pull out Jiu Fei's clone and slap him a dozen times. Yes, Your Highness. Jiu Fei's doppelganger snapped his fingers. In the next moment, the entire core of the formation changed. The entire Black Qilin City was like a terrifying beast that had suddenly awakened from its slumber. An even more powerful force enveloped the entire Black Qilin City. Moreover, the breach in the Great City Barrier Formation that had been breached by the Sky Overlord soldiers was also rapidly being repaired. Countless formation patterns began to appear in the void around Black Qilin City. Mysterious formation diagrams were activated, and the weather around Black Qilin City immediately changed. The power of Black Qilin City's defensive formation was enough to affect the natural aura within a radius of hundreds of thousands of miles around Black Qilin City. What's going on? High up in the Sky Overlord War God looked down at the city below and could not help but frown. It seemed that someone really controlled the core of Black Qilin City's formation. Actually, Black Qilin City was also extremely important to the Sky Overlord War God. However, the East Moon Empire was not the only enemy of the Sky Overlord Empire. The Sky Overlord War God had fought everywhere and offended many forces. Previously, he could not spare any attention to attack Black Qilin City. Now, he finally had a chance. However, no one could have imagined that a strand of Jiu Fei's divine sense would possess the body of the little soldier Wang Zhon of Black Qilin City and become a clone of Jiu Fei in the infinite realm. Unfortunately, Jiu Fei's clone's cultivation in formations was not bad. So, in the end, the Sky Overlord War God's luck was really not that good. Massacre the city. The Sky Overlord War God ordered his Sky Overlord Divine Army. He, the Sky Overlord War God, always kept his word. Since he said he would massacre the city, he would definitely massacre the city. Otherwise, where would he put his face? Boom. At the same time, the 30,000 soldiers had already charged to the East City Gate and directly collided with the tightly shut city gate. The violent impact caused a large part of the thick and heavy city gate to cave in. The city gate was surrounded by formation patterns, and every formation pattern was releasing powerful formation power. However, the power gathered by the Sky Overlord Divine Army was also very strong. After all, this was the power gathered by the 30,000 Sky Overlord Divine soldiers through a formation. Moreover, Jiu Fei's clone discovered that the battle formation formed by the Sky Overlord Divine soldiers was not ordinary. It could actually absorb the surrounding spiritual chi and integrate it into the battle formation. Therefore, the 30,000 Sky Overlord Divine soldiers became stronger as they fought. Kill. The 30,000 Sky Overlord Divine soldiers roared angrily at the same time and charged forward. Boom. There was another loud sound. Not only the city gate, but the entire city tower shook, and cracks appeared on the walls around the city gate. The city gate caved inwards from the power gathered by the 30,000 Sky Overlord Divine soldiers. The entire city gate loosened, and the formation patterns on the city gate also dimmed. Seeing this scene, inside the city, the expression of the East Moon soldiers behind the city gate changed greatly. One should know that the army attacking the city was not the army under Wu Lianyang's command. This was the Sky Overlord Divine Army attacking the city. The Sky Overlord War God was famous, and that was not an exaggeration. The East Moon soldiers of Black Qilin City had already been scared, but everyone knew that if they did not fight with their lives now, the entire city would probably be slaughtered by the Sky Overlord War God's army. If they fought with their lives, there was still a chance of survival. Therefore, even if they were scared, the East Moon soldiers had to fight to the death, and not retreat. To protect my homeland, to fight to the death, even if I die, I have no regret. The soldiers behind the city gate roared in unison. To fight to the death, even if I die, I have no regret. Their voices shook the sky, and the blood of all the East Moon soldiers was boiling. Everyone was unafraid of death, and everyone's blood was stimulated. Who cares about the Sky Overlord War God? Who cares about the Sky Overlord Divine soldiers? If they dared to attack, they would fight with their lives. Kill, kill, kill. The 30,000 Sky Overlord Divine soldiers outside the city gate also roared. Although there were only 30,000 people, their aura was not weaker than the 100,000 East Moon soldiers inside the city. At this time, in the east, hundreds of thousands of East Moon Empire's reinforcements were marching towards Black Qilin City. On the side of Black Qilin City, there were also hundreds of thousands of Sky Overlord Dynasty's army rushing towards Black Qilin City. Dongyu Lingxiao? The Sky Overlord War God looked towards the east. He could already sense the aura of the #1 War God of East Moon, but he did not expect it to be the #1 War God of East Moon personally leading the army to rescue Black Qilin City. At this time, Jiu Fei's doppelgangers attacked one after another. Rumble, the ground outside the east gate suddenly shook, and earth spikes rushed out from the ground, directly knocking the Sky Overlord Divine soldiers into the air, and then they fell heavily to the ground. The army formation formed by the Sky Overlord Divine soldiers was immediately thrown into chaos. These earth spikes could not hurt the armored Sky Overlord Divine soldiers at all, but they disrupted the army formation, greatly reducing the army's power. In the space inside the small house, Dongyu Shuere saw this scene on the light screen of the formation center, and could not help but be surprised and overjoyed. This guy really had some skills. Chapter 56-53. The Sky Hegemon War Immortal arrived with 30,000 troops and easily broke through the defensive formation of Black Qilin City. The entire city was shocked and everyone was terrified. Even Dragon Elephant and Barbarian were pessimistic, because their opponent was the famous Sky Hegemon Janshan. The reputation of the #1 war immortal of the Sky Hegemon Empire was not just for show. Seeing that the 30,000 soldiers of the Heaven Tyrant Divine Army were charging at the East City Gate and were about to break the city gate and enter Black Chilin City, Gu Fei's doppelganger finally started his performance. However, before he began his performance, he tricked Princess Dongyu first, and even made her swear a heavenly Dao oath. Shu'er didn't care about the heavenly oath at all, because in her eyes, a mere soldier like Wang Zhong couldn't possibly defeat the famous Sky Hegemon war immortal. The gap between the two was too great. Wang Zhong would be insane if he wanted to defeat the Sky Hegemon war immortal. At this moment, under the watchful eyes of Shu'er, Gu Fei's clone made a move and showed the Sky Hegemon Divine Army that was charging at the East Gate. In this Black Chilin City, no one had a higher cultivation in array formation than him. The battle formation of the Sky Tyrant Divine Army was not without flaws. To break the formation, it wasn't difficult for Gu Fei's clone who controlled the defensive formation of Black Chilin City, but it was a little troublesome. After all, he controlled the defensive formation of Black Chilin City, not the one who had the power to break the formation. Gu Fei's clone snapped his fingers and thought for a moment. The ground in front of the East Gate immediately trembled, and earth spikes suddenly shot out from the ground. The people in the Sky Tyrant battle formation were immediately thrown into a state of chaos. However, it must be said that the Sky Hegemon Divine Army was truly an elite. Even after being attacked by Gu Fei's clone, they quickly reorganized their troops. Kill, 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 the 30,000 troops roared in unison. Their murderous intent was shocking as they charged at the East Gate. All the soldiers of the army of God were boiling with fighting spirit. Each of them was unafraid of death. They were all soldiers who had climbed out of a pile of corpses. As long as the order was given, they would unconditionally and resolutely execute it to the end. Even if they had to die in battle, they would not hesitate. These lunatics, the Dragon Elephant Barbarian, who had already returned to the top of the city wall, was shocked to see this scene. At this time, Long Xiong Barbarian finally understood why the divine army under the sky-dominating battle god was invincible. Such an army was simply invincible. Interesting. In the center of Black Chilin City's formation, Gu Fei's clone saw this and couldn't help but think of his army. However, this army was in the void extent, where his real body was. When will I be able to cross over to this world? Where is Holy Master Shu Tian, the old bastard who almost killed me? It seemed like he needed to become stronger as soon as possible and then think of a way to open up a path between the void world and the limitless realm. How could he not find that old bastard Void Sky to take revenge? Of course, taking revenge on Sacred Lord Void Sky was only secondary. Boom. The 30,000-strong formation was unstoppable. It directly collided with the city gate that was already on the verge of shattering. In the next moment, the thick and heavy city gate directly exploded. The city gate exploded, and countless fragments shot out in all directions. The East Moon army behind the city gate was directly implicated. Blood splattered all of a sudden, and a large number of the East Moon soldiers behind the city gates collapsed. The thick smell of blood permeated the air. The shards of the city gate directly pierced through the bodies of the countless East Moon soldiers behind the city gate. Although they were wearing armor, they were as fragile as thin paper, and could not block the countless shards of the city gate that were flying towards them. What, in the space where the formation center was located, Dongyu Shu'er, who saw this scene on the light screen inside the formation center, was truly shocked. The city is breached. The East Moon soldiers on top of the city wall were also shocked. The Dragon Elephant Barbarian's hand trembled, and the saber in his hand almost fell to the ground. At the same time, the 30,000 soldiers of the Heavenly Tyrant Divine Army were like a black torrent, slaughtering their way through the Eastern Gate. Wherever they passed, blood splattered. The Eastern Moon army that had gathered at the Eastern Gate was simply slaughtered like vegetables. As long as the saber flashed, an East Moon soldier would fall into a pool of blood. Kill all these bastards. The East Moon soldiers quickly came back to their senses. They roared and charged at the sky-dominating divine army that had charged into the city, as if they had all gone mad. At this time, it was either you die or I die. All the East Moon soldiers were fighting with their lives on the line. There was no other way. If they wanted to survive, they had to fight with their lives on the line. Clang! An Eastern Moon soldier fiercely slashed at the shoulder of a Sky Tyrant divine soldier clad in divine armor. Sparks flew everywhere, and the Eastern Moon soldier's blade actually bounced back, unexpectedly unable to break through the opponent's defense. At this time, the sky-dominating divine soldier swung the saber in his hand and directly killed the East Moon soldier. The sky-dominating divine soldier stepped over the East Moon soldier's corpse and continued to charge forward. This was a one-sided massacre. The sky-dominating divine soldiers were invulnerable, but the East Moon soldiers were clearly not on the same level. They did not even have the power to fight back. Very soon, the sky-dominating divine army had already broken into the city, and the East Gate was immediately in chaos. What to do, what to do? Outside the formation core, Dongyu Shui panicked. She never thought that the sky-dominating divine army would be so fast, and so easy to charge into Black Qilin City. What are you panicking for? In the formation core, Ji Yufei's clone was still as steady as an old dog. Other than Dongyu Shui, the middle-aged man guarding the formation core and the black tiger were already paralyzed on the ground. The sky-dominating divine army had charged into Black Qilin City. This was the rhythm of a massacre, because the sky-dominating war god had already said that he would massacre the entire city. A powerful person like the sky-dominating war god would definitely do what he said. Since he said that he would massacre the entire city, then everyone in the city would not be able to live. I thought there were capable people in the city, but it seems like they are only SOSO. High up in the sky-dominating war god said coldly with a condescending attitude. Wang Zhon, you bastard. Aren't you very powerful? Didn't you say that you would defeat the sky-dominating war god? Why don't you show me a thing or two? Dongyu Shui was almost driven mad by Ji Yufei's clone. She bared her fangs and brandished her claws at Ji Yufei's clone as she roared. Sigh, all right. Seems like I have to show you a thing or two. Ji Yufei's clone said as he snapped his fingers again. Pa. He snapped his fingers, and the next moment, the sky above Black Qilin City immediately changed color. The sun and moon lost their light, and a huge tornado descended from the sky, shrouding the sky-dominating divine soldiers in the East Gate. One by one, the sky-dominating divine soldiers were swept into the sky by the tornado. In the face of such absolute power, even the sky-dominating divine army's formation could not withstand it. At the same time, the hole in the Black Qilin City's city defense formation that was broken by the sky-dominating divine army was also quickly repaired. This was the rhythm of closing the door to beat the dogs. Chapter 56-54. Dongyu Shui didn't expect the Black Qilin City's defensive formation to have such a miraculous change. Ji Yufei's doppelganger actually summoned a terrifying tornado. The tornado directly fell into the formation of the Sky Tyrant Divine Army that had already entered the East Gate. Although the formation of the Sky Tyrant Divine Army was powerful, they also wore impenetrable armor. It was an exaggeration to say that every member of the army was armed to the teeth and had no flaws. It was impossible to defeat such an army with ordinary means. Unless one had absolute power to break the formation in one fell swoop. However, this was a formation made up of 30,000 soldiers. Moreover, these 30,000 Sky Tyrant Divine soldiers were selected from all the troops in the entire Sky Tyrant Empire. Those who could join the Sky Tyrant Divine Army were all soldier kings in the army. Sky Tyrant War God had spent a lot of effort to build this army because every member of the army had the fighting strength of an Earth rank. Every member of the Heaven Tyrant Divine Army was an Earth rank existence. In the eyes of the Dragon Elephant Barbarian, this was simply an undefeatable army because even the Dragon Elephant Barbarian was an Earth rank. In other words, any one of the Sky Tyrant Divine Army's fighting strength could compete with an Earth rank warrior in Black Qilin City. This was the reason why the Sky Tyrant Divine Army was so powerful. In any world, strength determined everything. Ji Yufei knew this better than anyone else. Without strength, one would be beaten. Sometimes, even begging for mercy was useless. Sky Tyrant War God said he wanted to massacre the city because he had the strength. However, he didn't expect to meet an opponent in Black Chelene City. Preposterous. Seeing that his 30,000 soldiers were about to be trapped in Black Chelene City, how could Sky Tyrant War God sit still? Boom. Sky Tyrant War God finally made his move. He directly punched down at Black Chelene City. The ferocious fist power shook the void. When Overlord War God punched down, it directly shook the Black Chelene City's great city defense formation. Countless runes were shaking, undulating like water waves. An expert would know when he made a move. Although Overlord War Immortal had only punched once, Gu Fei's doppelganger in the Black Chelene City's formation center immediately sensed his cultivation level. Divine level. Gu Fei's doppelganger couldn't help but frown. This sky hegemonic battle immortal's cultivation was quite powerful. If he was in the Void Realm, he would be a formidable existence. Of course, in the Limitless Realm, this Overlord Battle God was also a formidable character. However, the Black Chelene City's city defense formation had existed for countless years. The power gathered by the formation was far beyond everyone's expectations. It was also beyond the expectations of Gu Fei's doppelganger. This city didn't seem simple at all. Of course, it was already unusual for a city to be able to stand in the infinite realm for so many years. This was because this city was located at the border between the East Moon Empire and the tyrannical Heaven Empire. It was a place that the militarists would fight for. Ordinary cities were easily destroyed by the flames of war. Seeing that his punch couldn't break open the Black Chelene City's city defense formation, Overlord War Immortal couldn't help but be shocked. This Black Chelene City defense formation could actually block the power of a divine level. In fact, Overlord War Immortal didn't even know that most of the power of his punch was swallowed by the Black Chelene City's city defense formation. Gu Fei's doppelganger had already made some changes to the Black Chelene City's city defense formation. Although it was only a small change, the entire Black Chelene City defense formation was different. The same formation, when controlled by different people, would exert different power. The same divine weapon, in the hands of different people, could exert different power. With the cultivation of Gu Fei's doppelganger, he could exert the power of the entire Black Chelene City's city defense formation to the limit. It was that simple. It's impolite not to reciprocate. Gu Fei's doppelganger, who was in the center of the formation, waved his right hand. A shocking sword radiance immediately rose from Black Chelene City and pierced towards Overlord War Immortal at an extremely fast speed. The sword radiance pierced through the sky, cutting through the void, and instantly pierced in front of Overlord War Immortal. The chilly sword chi spread out, and the temperature of the entire heaven and earth dropped rapidly under the impact of the sword chi. What Gu Fei's doppelganger lacked the most now was power, but he could use the Black Chelene City's city defense formation for his own use and display some powerful magical power and combat skills. Overlord War Immortal didn't expect his opponent's counterattack to come so quickly. He suddenly dodged, and the sharp sword radiance that pierced through his body brushed past. The Sky Overlord Battle God sneered. He lowered his head and saw that the clothes around his waist had actually split open, revealing a layer of soft armor underneath. He was shocked and angry. If it wasn't for the soft armor, he would have been injured. Who exactly are you? Dongyu Shui was dumbfounded seeing this. This Wang Zhon was so powerful that he could really fight against Overlord War Immortal, and it was through the air. Even a true divine-level terror warrior would be left in the dust by such means. Dongyu Shui was extremely curious about Gu Fei's doppelganger, but she had already investigated Wang Zhon's background. This Wang Zhon was just a small soldier in Black Chelene City. Wang Zhon's father had died on the battlefield a few years ago. In order for his mother and sister to continue living in Black Chelene City, Wang Zhon took over his father's position and became a small soldier in the East Gate military camp of Black Chelene City. In the past, Wang Zhon was often bullied by the ruffians in the East Gate military camp, but he didn't dare to say anything. This Wang Zhon seemed to have changed into a different person recently. He began to rise in power and ignored the cultivation clans in Black Chelene City. Whoever dared to provoke him would be beaten up by him. No matter who he was, He would fight him if he was unhappy. There must be a reason why a small soldier suddenly became so powerful. Dong Yu Shui no longer had any doubts. This Wang Zhon might really have an extraordinary mysterious person supporting him. Otherwise, how could a small soldier suddenly have the ability to control a super large formation? At this time, Ji Yufei's doppelganger didn't have the time to care about Princess Dong Yu Shui. It wasn't easy to meet such a powerful guy, so he had to play with him. Even if he couldn't win, he could still slip away. At most, he could bring Princess Dong Yu with him when he slipped away. In the eyes of Ji Yufei's doppelganger, the noble Princess Dong Yu had become a burden. However, with my formation cultivation, how could I not defeat that big black guy outside? Chapter 56-55. So what if he's at the divine level? I'll just do it. Although Ji Yufei's clone, Wang Zhon, was not Ji Yufei's original body, he had all the battle experience of the original body. Now that he encountered an opponent like the Sky Overlord War God, his battle blood finally began to boil. The Sky Overlord War God was the strongest opponent he had encountered since coming to the Infinite Realm. In the Infinite Realm, a divine-level expert could be regarded as an expert. After all, even in the Infinite Realm, there were not as many infinite primes as Ji Yufei imagined. At this moment, Ji Yufei's clone Wang Zhon fully controlled the protective formation of Black Qilin City. Although the 30,000 Sky Overlord Divine Army that successfully entered Black Qilin City were attacked by the terrifying tornado, they still did not panic. They directly attacked the City Lord's residence. Soldiers from all over Black Qilin City and experts from various clans all charged towards the East Gate from all directions. For a moment, the city was filled with earth-shattering battle cries. Every household in the city shut their doors and windows tightly. Countless ordinary people hid in their houses, trembling in fear. They were all praying that the guards could defeat the invaders. However, the invaders this time were exceptionally powerful. The Sky Overlord War God was determined to take down Black Qilin City and open up a passage to the East Moon Empire so that the army of the Sky Overlord Empire could march in. The interior of the East Moon Empire was a rich and fertile land. It was also a region that produced food. If they could take down Black Qilin City, it would be of great significance to the Sky Overlord Empire. They might even have the chance to destroy the East Moon Empire. Even the Sky Overlord War God was envious of this achievement, because he had fought for the Sky Overlord Empire for countless years and destroyed countless small countries, but he had never destroyed an empire. If he could destroy the East Moon Empire, it would be the pinnacle of his life. Sky Overlord Divine Army, advance with indomitable will. The 30,000 Sky Overlord Divine Army was like a black flood. Wherever they passed, everything was destroyed. The guards of the East Moon Empire could not stop them at all. I'll kill all of you trash. The guards of the East Moon Empire and the experts of the various forces in the city all charged towards the Sky Overlord Divine Army like madmen. This was a desperate fight. It was either you die or I die. However, risking one's life depended on one's strength. Without strength, risking one's life was the same as throwing away one's life. The Eastern Moon Divine Army that charged towards the Sky Tyrant Divine Army were all stabbed to death by the battle spears in the hands of the Sky Tyrant Divine Army. The Sky Tyrant Divine Army trampled over the corpses on the ground as they advanced, leaving behind countless corpses along the way. The Heaven Tyrant Divine Army was truly an iron-blooded divine army. Even Ji Yufei's doppelganger was impressed. From this, it could be seen that this sky-dominating battle immortal was also a powerful figure. However, compared to him, this big black was still not enough. Just as the Sky Tyrant Divine Army was moving along the East Gate Street and killing their way towards the City Lord's residence, the ground in front of them suddenly shook. At the next moment, a wall burst out from the ground and blocked the Sky Tyrant Divine Army. The first commander of the army of God sneered. He strode forward and punched the wall. Boom! With a loud bang, the wall in front of the Sky Tyrant Divine Army was blasted apart. At the moment when the first commander punched the wall in front of him, he was stunned by the scene in front of him. He saw that the street in front of him was densely packed with figures. These were not real people of flesh and blood, but rather phantoms. At this moment, The guards of Black Chelene City and the experts of the various clans retreated like the tide. This was because they knew how powerful these virtual figures were. As long as they came into contact with these virtual figures, their essence, chi and spirit would be completely devoured by them. Before the Sky Tyrant Divine Army could react, the mysterious figures that suddenly appeared in front of them had already moved. Countless figures charged towards the Sky Tyrant Divine Army. Some virtual figures even soared into the sky and pounced towards the Sky Tyrant Divine Army. Defend! The first commander of the Sky Tyrant Divine Army raised his arms and roared. In the next moment, the battle formation of the Sky Tyrant Divine Army changed immediately. A ball of divine light emerged and enveloped the entire Sky Tyrant Divine Army. However, a scene that made everyone dumbfounded appeared. They saw that the virtual figures that were charging towards them had actually passed through the light shield and directly killed their way into the battle formation of the Sky Tyrant Divine Army. How is this possible? When the first commander of the Divine Army saw this scene, he was really shocked. He saw that the first virtual figure that killed its way into the Sky Tyrant Divine Army directly pounced on the body of a Sky Tyrant Divine Army soldier. This time, the armor of the Sky Tyrant Divine Army soldier did not work. This virtual figure directly passed through the body of the Sky Tyrant Divine Army, and the black armor of the Sky Tyrant Divine Army soldier immediately turned into a dried corpse. Until now, the invincible and courageous Sky Tyrant Divine Army finally had casualties. Even the terrifying tornado previously could not kill a Sky Tyrant Divine Army soldier. When the Sky Tyrant Battle God, who was blocked outside of Black Chelene City, saw this scene, he could not help but be shocked and angry. The Divine Army under his command actually had casualties, and this made him go crazy. Roar, break for me. The Sky Tyrant Battle God roared and directly rushed down from the sky. His entire body turned into a ball of fire and fiercely smashed against the Black Chelene City's city protection formation. Violent energy exploded and the entire Black Chelene City's city protection formation shook. Countless formation patterns intertwined in the void. This collision of the Sky Tyrant Battle God felt like he had fallen into a huge net. No matter how strong the power that the Sky Tyrant Battle God had erupted, he was like a fish in the net and could not break this huge net at all. Little guy, this is a formation that I have modified. If it was so easily broken by you, where would I put my face? In the core of the Black Chelene City's city protection formation, Gu Fei's doppelganger was very proud. So what if you are a divine level expert? Although my current cultivation is not very good, I am very good at using formations. If my cultivation is not enough, I will use formations to make up for it. At this time, on the Eastern Street, countless virtual figures frantically rushed towards the Sky Tyrant Divine Army. These virtual figures directly pounced on the Sky Tyrant Divine Army. Then, the Sky Tyrant Divine Army soldiers were directly pounced on by the virtual figures and directly fell to the ground, turning into dried corpses. In just a few seconds, less than half of the 30,000 Sky Tyrant Divine Army soldiers had fallen, and the Sky Tyrant battle formation had also weakened. This shocked the first commander of the Sky Tyrant Divine Army. The Sky Tyrant Divine Army was very strong, especially the Sky Tyrant Divine Army that had formed a battle formation, which was even more powerful and terrifying. However, at this time, the countless Sky Tyrant Divine Army actually had a feeling of powerlessness. These strange virtual figures were mysterious and terrifying, which caused a great impact on the hearts of the Sky Tyrant Divine Army. Chapter 56-56. In the end, Gu Fei's doppelganger still used his trump card. In an instant, the Sky Tyrant Divine Army that had entered Black Chelene City was in danger. Countless shadows formed by the power of formations appeared in the void, descended from the sky, and rushed towards the Sky Tyrant Divine Army from all directions. This was a terrifying army. Every shadow was a god of death. As long as these shadows pounced on them, even the fiercest Sky Tyrant Divine Army would be instantly devoured of their essence, chi, and spirit, turning into a terrifying mummy. Under the attack of the shadows, the Sky Tyrant Divine Army fell one after another. The first commander was about to go crazy when he saw this scene. Hold on. The first commander roared and slashed at a shadow that pounced on him. The powerful power of Saber Principle erupted from the saber in his hand. The shadow was directly split in half by the first commander, and then dispersed in the void by the power of Saber Principle. However, after one shadow was dispersed by the first commander's slash, the second shadow pounced forward, and more shadows appeared in the sky, directly falling from the sky below the city. The shadows were endless. As long as the Black Chelene City's Great City Protecting Formation was still operating, these shadows would continuously appear in the Great City Protecting Formation. Sky Tyrant exterminating Earth. At this moment, seeing that his army was in danger, the Sky Tyrant War God finally used his trump card. Rumble, an extremely powerful force suddenly erupted from the sky above Black Chelene City, and a powerful wave of primordial chi spread in all directions. In the next moment, countless formation patterns appeared in the sky above Black Chelene City. Huge formation diagrams covered the entire sky, and the Great City Protecting Formation of Black Chelene City suffered a great impact. The runes around the sky-dominating battle god's body were actually shattered by the tyrannical power that erupted from his body. It was as if a huge net had a hole in it. Countless people in the city raised their heads to see this scene, and they were all inexplicably shocked. The war god is invincible. The war god is invincible. The 30,000 Sky Tyrant Divine Army shouted in unison, and their voices shook the entire city. Meanwhile, the guards of the East Moon Empire in Black Chelene City were all pale with fright. That was the Sky Tyrant War God. If he killed his way into the city, then everyone was dead. I don't want to die. Someone broke down. Even a seasoned veteran would crumble in an instant. If you don't want to die, then fight with these guys. Someone waved the weapon in his hand and roared. That's right. If you want to massacre the city, you'll have to step over my dead body first. Someone roared ferociously. What should we do? In the space where the formation center of Black Chelene City was located, Princess Dongyu saw this scene. Even though she was a high and mighty princess, she was quite frightened at this moment. The sky hegemonic battle god was a god-rank existence. In the entire Black Chelene City, the most powerful person was the city lord, Dong Yu Tian. But even Dong Yu Tian was only at the heaven rank. Now, the Sky Overlord War God had actually broken through the city protecting array and directly killed his way into Black Chelene City. The higher-ups of the Tiger Clan, Tu Clan, and Longxiong Clan were all scared out of their wits by the Sky Hegemon War God who had charged into Black Chelene City. Some of them began to prepare to flee. For these big clans in the city, of course, they would have a backup plan. On the surface, they vowed to live and die together with Black Chelene City, but in fact, everyone knew that these guys would never die together with Black Chelene City. You dare to kill my soldiers? You should die 10 times over. The Sky Overlord War God's majestic voice resounded throughout the city. Boom. The Sky Overlord War God was like a sun descending from the sky and smashed into the city, creating a huge pit on the ground. Violent waves of Yuan Qi spread out, causing the surrounding ground to undulate like water waves. Houses collapsed and dust flew everywhere. Many citizens of Black Chelene City who were hiding in their houses were directly buried in the ruins. In front of an absolutely powerful expert, the weak were simply not even ants. However, Ji Yufei hated these high and mighty guys who disregarded life the most. One must know that before these guys achieved the Tao, weren't they also such lowly existences? After achieving the Tao, did they think that they were superior to others? Ji Yufei's original intention would never change. He was very clear about how he gradually became stronger from a weak and small place. Therefore, he would never disregard the weak and small creatures, let alone kill the lives of these weak and small creatures. No matter how weak a creature was, it was still a life, and it had its own meaning of existence. Damn it! Seeing that the Sky Overlord War God did not have any scruples and did not care about the lives of the citizens in the city, Ji Yufei's doppelganger Wang Zhon could not help but be angry. Of course, the Sky Overlord War God had already said that he would massacre the city. He had killed his way into Black Chelene City to start a massacre. This was not a problem for the big black Sky Overlord War God. However, the Sky Overlord War God did not know that he would anger Ji Yufei's doppelganger. The consequences of angering Ji Yufei's doppelganger were very serious. Ji Yufei's doppelganger, who was in the center of the formation, only needed a thought, and countless shadows pounced from all directions towards the Sky Overlord War God, who was walking out of the pit step by step. "Child's play," the Sky Overlord War God said proudly. He waved his big sleeves, and the countless shadows that were pouncing towards him were swept away by his big sleeves. Then, they dissipated in the void. A wave of divine-level power erupted from the Sky Overlord War God's body. This was the terror of a divine-level expert. Regardless of whether the shadows were tangible or intangible, as long as they were condensed from vitality, they would be shattered by the Sky Overlord War God's power. However, the shattered shadows would immediately condense again and pounce towards the Sky Overlord War God. The Sky Overlord War God's expression became somewhat ugly. He directly soared into the sky and charged towards the East Street where the Sky Overlord Divine Army was surrounded by the shadows. Wherever he passed, countless shadows were shattered by his tyrannical power in the void. However, the Sky Overlord War God did not notice a detail. Although he had shattered the shadows, a small part of his own vitality had unknowingly integrated into the great formation of the city protection. In other words, in the territory of Gu Fei's doppelganger, the power of the Sky Overlord War God was constantly being weakened, while the power of the great formation of the city protection was constantly increasing. The Sky Overlord War God is invincible. The Sky Overlord Divine Army was still shouting. Their morale was greatly boosted, and they formed a battle formation to block the attacks of the shadows. However, the power of the Sky Overlord Divine Army's battle formation was constantly being absorbed by the Black Chilean City's great formation of the city protection. The Sky Overlord War God descended from the sky and directly shattered the shadows that were surrounding the Sky Overlord Divine Army. An extremely tyrannical divine-level power spread in all directions. "Very good, it seems that I can't not be serious. Aren't you forcing me to use my ultimate move?" In the center of the great formation of the city protection, the expression of Gu Fei's doppelganger became extremely solemn. "Pa." He directly stretched out his right hand and made a loud snap of his fingers. "Dragon soars to the heavens," he roared angrily. In the next moment, the entire great formation of the city protection immediately started operating crazily. Roar. Chapter 56-57. In Black Chilean City, the Sky Overlord War Immortal's disregard for life had infuriated Gu Fei's clone. He was going to use his ultimate move. Roar. An earth-shattering dragon roar resounded in Black Chilean City. In the next moment, the endless power of formation gathered in the sky above Black Chilean City, and a huge dragon shadow appeared in everyone's sight. Everyone in Black Chilean City was stunned by this scene. A dragon shadow larger than a mountain appeared in the sky above Black Chilean City. It coiled in the void and roared at the sky. A terrifying wave of Yuan Qi erupted from the dragon shadow, and the entire void shook. Everyone felt a sense of fear that came from the depths of their souls. They were all stunned. How is this possible? Even the Sky Overlord War Immortal was shocked when he saw the dragon shadow in the sky. With his cultivation base, he could naturally sense the change in the Yuan Qi in Black Chilean City. This was a huge dragon formed by the power of the Black Chilean City's city defense formation. Although it was not a real dragon, the battle power of the dragon shadow was not to be underestimated. In the formation center of Black Chilean City, Princess Dongyu, who was watching this scene through the light screen, was also dumbfounded. She did not expect the Black Chilean City's city defense formation to have such a magical power. In the eyes of Dongyu Shui, the various changes of the formation were actually magical power of the formation, which was performed by the power of the formation. However, not everyone had such a skill. Even Lin Dashu, the formation master of the mystical heaven sect, who was beaten away by Gu Fei's clone, did not have such a skill. An expert of formation Dao who could use the power of the formation to perform a magical power of the formation was at least a Grandmaster level formation Dao expert. Continue to kill. The Sky Overlord War Immortal ordered his divine army. This is the order of the war god. The countless divine army received the order in unison, then protected themselves with shields and spears, and once again charged towards the City Lord's residence at the end of East City Street. At this moment, as most of the power of the Black Chilean City's city defense formation was used by Gu Fei's doppelganger to condense the dragon shadow, the power of those terrifying humanoid shadows plummeted. Countless divine soldiers of the Sky Tyrant Divine Army formed a battle formation and charged forward. The countless illusory figures in front of the divine soldiers of the Sky Tyrant Divine Army immediately dissipated in the void. Moreover, the dissipating human silhouettes did not continue to condense. Roar. At the same time, the huge dragon shadow in the sky roared angrily and swooped down on the Sky Hegemonic Battle Immortal. It bared its fangs and brandished its claws. In the center of the array formation, Gu Fei's doppelganger controlled the dragon shadow to attack. Swoosh! A gigantic dragon claw descended from the sky towards the Sky Hegemonic War Immortal, who was standing proudly on the street. Me. The Sky Overlord Battle God sneered. In the next moment, he threw a punch upwards. Boom! His punch landed on the dragon claw descending from the sky. Under the huge dragon claw, the Sky Overlord Battle Immortal seemed very small. However, the Sky Overlord Battle Immortal, who was as small as an ant, only needed to throw a punch to block the dragon claw. Middle level divine level. In the center of the array formation of Black Chilean City, Gu Fei's doppelganger remained as steady as an old dog when he sensed the burst of Yuan Qi from the Sky Overlord Battle Immortal. You bastard, go to hell! Gu Fei's doppelganger roared. In the next moment, an even more powerful energy burst from the dragon claw. Boom! Dust flew up under the feet of the Sky Overlord Battle Immortal. The extremely hard floor tiles immediately exploded. He was suddenly slammed into the ground by the huge dragon claw like a nail. Princess Dongyu, who was hiding in the space where the center of the array formation was, saw this scene and her eyeballs almost fell to the ground. How is this possible? Dongyu Shuer could not believe her eyes. The insufferably arrogant Sky Overlord Battle Immortal was slammed into the ground by the dragon shadow. That was the Sky Overlord Battle Immortal, the #1 war immortal of the Sky Overlord Empire. Your Highness, don't forget your heavenly oath. Just as Dongyu Shuer was in a daze, the voice of Gu Fei's doppelganger came from the center of the array formation. Dongyu Shuer's forehead was covered in cold sweat. She initially thought that Wang Zhong would not be able to defeat the Sky Overlord Battle Immortal, but it seemed that he had hidden his strength well. Moreover, he seemed to be very evil. Dongyu Shuer was dumbfounded when she thought of her heavenly oath. If Wang Zhong really defeated the Sky Overlord Battle Immortal, she would be in deep trouble. A heavenly oath was no joke. If she were to break the oath, the consequences would be unbearable. H. How could the Sky Overlord Battle Immortal be defeated so easily? Don't celebrate too early. Dongyu Shuer comforted herself. Is that so? Hihi, I'm not afraid that you'll go back on your word. When I defeat the Sky Overlord Battle Immortal, you'll have to fulfill your promise. Gu Fei's doppelganger smiled. If you can defeat the Sky Overlord Battle Immortal, I'll give you whatever you want. I'll never go back on my word. I'm just afraid that you don't have the ability to do so, Dongyu Shuer said loudly. If she could defeat the Sky Overlord Battle Immortal, it would be a great military achievement. Her father would probably give her whatever she wanted. Although the East Moon Empire was not the strongest empire in the easternmost region of the Infinite Realm, the things that the Emperor of the East Moon Empire possessed were unimaginable. However, Dongyu Shuer's thinking was too simple. Very well. Gu Fei's doppelganger smiled even more happily. Boom. At this moment, there was a sudden loud noise on the east street of Black Chilean City. The dragon claw that was pressed on the ground suddenly exploded, and the ground was shaken by a powerful force that burst out from underground, creating a huge pit. The extremely hard floor tiles shattered, and countless fragments shot out in all directions. The houses on both sides of the street had holes of various sizes because of the floor tiles. At the same time, a figure shot up from the ground. An extremely dazzling saber light appeared in the void. The saber light soared into the sky, instantly reaching tens of thousands of meters, and directly slashed at the dragon. The void seemed to have been split open by the shocking saber light. The terrifying saber chi spread out, and everyone in the city felt chills all over their bodies. With just this slash, Gu Fei's doppelganger knew that the Sky Overlord Battle Immortal definitely lived up to his reputation. His cultivation and battle prowess were definitely enough to sweep through the entire Black Cheline city. No one could stop him. Of course, if Gu Fei's doppelganger did not control the Black Cheline city's protective formation, the Sky Overlord Battle Immortal could indeed sweep through Black Cheline city and massacre the entire city. Chapter 56-58. The Saber Radiance soared into the sky and beheaded the dragon. The Sky Overlord Battle God was extremely domineering. He slashed at the huge dragon formed by the power of the formation. The power of the slash made the heavens and earth lose their color. Everyone in the city raised their heads to look at the blade that soared into the sky. This scene was too shocking. Everyone was stunned by this scene. In the center of the formation of Black Cheline City, Gu Fei's doppelganger sneered. In the next moment, the huge dragon shadow above Black Cheline City roared fiercely. Then, it swooped down and bit the saber radiance that soared into the sky. Clang! There was a sound of metal colliding in the void. What? The Sky Overlord Battle God was dumbfounded when he saw this scene. The saber that he had unleashed with all his strength was bitten by the dragon shadow. One should know that this was not a real dragon. There were real dragons in the limitless realm. In fact, divine beasts that had long been extinct in other worlds existed in the limitless realm. Of course, these divine beasts were already very powerful, but the divine beasts in the limitless realm were even more powerful. The dragon clan in the limitless realm was definitely the strongest dragon clan in all the worlds. However, the people of Black Cheline City had never seen a real dragon before. Break it! Gu Fei's doppelganger sneered. In the next moment, the dragon shadow that was formed by the power of the formation bit hard and the saber radiance directly collapsed. Damn it! The Sky Overlord Battle God, Ba Chenkuan's face was gloomy. He soared into the sky and punched at the dragon shadow in the sky. The violent fist force exploded and turned into a strange beast that fiercely pounced at the dragon shadow in the sky. Boom! The two divine beasts collided with each other in an instant and exploded with a loud sound. The terrifying sound wave spread in all directions and the entire Black Cheline city shook. Everyone's ears were buzzing from the sound wave. Those with weaker cultivation even had their eardrums ruptured and blood oozed out of their ears. They held their heads and screamed in pain. The powerhouses in Black Cheline City were inexplicably shocked. This level of power was not something they could contend against. The Overlord Battle God truly lived up to his reputation. This made all the forces in Black Cheline City terrified. Once the formation of Black Cheline City couldn't suppress the God of War, then everyone in the city would die without a burial place. It couldn't be helped, this was the reality. Sky Overlord Battle God wanted to massacre the entire city, so all of Black Cheline City's hopes rested on Gu Fei's doppelganger. At this time, the Black Cheline City's City Lord's mansion was already empty, because everyone knew that the Sky Overlord War God and his army of gods' target was the City Lord's mansion. At this moment, the Overlord Battle Immortal's army of gods charged towards the City Lord's mansion again. The core of the Black Cheline City's formation was definitely in the Castellan's mansion. As long as they found the core and destroyed it, the entire Black Cheline City would be theirs. The Sky Hegemonic Battle Immortal attacked with all his might. One punch after another, the huge dragon shadow in the sky tumbled continuously. He actually fought against the power of the entire Black Cheline City by himself. This guy's too strong. Seeing this scene, everyone in the city couldn't help but exclaim. In the space where the core of the formation was located, Dongyu Shui was also dumbfounded. It seemed that it wouldn't be easy to defeat the Sky Overlord Battle Immortal. Wang Zhon, you still need to work hard. Keep it up, I have high hopes for you. Dongyu Shui shouted at Gu Fei's doppelganger in the core of the formation. Gu Fei's doppelganger was speechless. He used all his strength to activate the Black Cheline City's Great City Defense Formation. The power of the dragon shadow in the sky grew stronger, and the huge dragon claws kept tearing at the Sky Overlord Battle Immortal. Muffled sounds of impact were heard continuously. Kill! The Sky Overlord Battle Immortal roared continuously. At this moment, he was extremely ferocious. However, he also realized that this dragon shadow was unusual. Who was controlling this dragon shadow? The Sky Overlord Battle Immortal was really curious. The person who could control the Black Chilean City's Great City Defense Formation was definitely not an ordinary formation master. Only a formation master at least had such ability. However, why would a formation master appear in a small Black Chilean city? One should know that such a big shot would be recruited even in the imperial city of the Sky Overlord Empire. Even the Sky Overlord Emperor had to treat him with respect. An array grandmaster was definitely not a nameless person. It was impossible for him not to know that a formation master had appeared in Black Chilean City. Bam! The huge dragon shadow swung its tail and directly swept the Sky Overlord Battle Immortal away. He crashed into the defensive light shield of Black Chilean City, then bounced back and smashed into the tower of the East City Gate. Boom! With a loud bang, the entire tower of the East City Gate exploded. The guards of the East Moon Empire on the tower were instantly blown away, all of them suffering. Sigh, looks like this won't do. In the center of Black Chilean City's formation, Gu Fei's clone sighed. It was impossible for the entire Black Chilean City's Great Formation's power to gather together. Even though the Black Chilean City's Great Formation had gathered a power that could even make divine-level experts tremble, this power had no choice but to disperse. Once the power was dispersed, it would naturally be weakened. This was a very simple logic. This was also why Gu Fei's clone could not deal with the Sky Overlord Battle Immortal immediately. In his eyes, the Sky Overlord Battle Immortal was just a slightly stronger ant. If the main body of Gu Fei's clone was here, he could kill this guy with a single slap. What, you can't deal with him? Dong Yu Shuer said in shock. Didn't this Wang Zhong clearly have the upper hand? Why would he say such a thing? I can't deal with him. Gu Fei's clone sighed. On the light screen in the center of the formation, the Sky Overlord Battle Immortal, who was sent flying by the tail of the dragon shadow controlled by Gu Fei's clone, soared into the sky from the East City Gate and charged back. Looks like I still have to do it myself. Gu Fei's clone said helplessly. Wait, you've confused me. Aren't you going to do it yourself? Dong Yu Shuer said. How is it fun to fight from afar? Gu Fei's clone laughed. What, you're saying you're going to fight the Sky Overlord Battle Immortal? Hearing this, Dong Yu Shuer was shocked. Although she could not see through Wang Zhong's strength, she definitely did not believe that Wang Zhong could contend against the Sky Overlord Battle Immortal. The Sky Overlord Battle Immortal was the #1 battle immortal of the Sky Overlord Empire. Other than this, what else can you do to stop that lunatic outside from slaughtering the city? Gu Fei's clone asked. Dong Yu Shuer was immediately speechless. What else could she do? She was not a formation grandmaster, nor was she a divine-level expert. What could she use to contend against the Sky Overlord Battle Immortal, who was famous in the Sky Overlord Empire and the East Moon Empire? In the East Moon Empire, although she was an extremely noble princess, the Sky Overlord Battle Immortal would not give her any face. He could not wait to capture her alive. Isn't that it? Gu Fei's clone said as he began forming seals with his hands, unleashing one Dao pattern after another. These Dao patterns were all imprinted in the surrounding void. As the number of Dao patterns continued to increase, these Dao patterns quickly formed into array diagrams. These array diagrams perfectly fused with the core of the array formation. What are you doing? Dong Yu Shuer stared at Gu Fei's clone with her mouth agape. What do you think? Gu Fei's clone revealed a mysterious smile to Dong Yu Shuer. At this moment, the dragon shadow above Black Chilean City directly rushed down from the sky and rushed into the City Lord's mansion. It instantly disappeared from the City Lord's mansion. The center of the formation is indeed in the City Lord's residence. Chapter 56-59. The power that the Black Chilean City's city barrier formation had accumulated over the years was indeed very strong, but Gu Fei's clone discovered a serious problem. That was, although the power of the Black Chilean City's city barrier formation was strong, it was too scattered. This way, he couldn't draw upon all the power of the Black Chilean City's city barrier formation. This made him unable to deal with the Sky Overlord War God who had charged into Black Chilean City. The Sky Overlord War God was extremely domineering and arrogant. He even threatened to massacre the city, which made Ji Yufei's clone very unhappy. If Ji Yufei's clone was unhappy, the consequences would be very serious. He was going to get serious and personally go out to meet this Sky Overlord war god. How dare you call yourself a war god in front of me? You really don't know your place. In the center of the Black Chilean city's formation, Ji Yufei's clone formed seals with both hands and constantly struck out Dao patterns. He was setting up a formation, and his formation was perfectly fused with the center of the Black Chilean city's formation. Then, Ji Yufei's clone was enveloped by a ball of divine light. The power of the entire Black Chilean city's city barrier formation gathered towards the ball of divine light where Ji Yufei's clone was at. Your Highness, you should retreat first. Ji Yufei's clone's voice came from the ball of light. Uncle Shen, leave with Her Highness. Ji Yufei's clone's voice sounded again. What are you trying to do? Dongyu Shuai yelled at the ball of light where Ji Yufei's clone was at. Are you blind? Can't you see that I'm preparing my ultimate move? Ji Yufei's clone said in annoyance. Ultimate move? Dongyu Shuai looked at the divine light that gathered from all directions and was extremely shocked. She immediately brought the black tiger and the middle-aged man in black who was guarding the center of the formation out of the wooden hut. In the City Lord Manor, there was a secret chamber. At this time, Ji Yufei's clone, Wang Zhon's mother and sister, were hiding in the secret chamber. Not only was the secret room in the City Lord's mansion well hidden, but once the secret room was closed, it could only be opened from the inside. If the person inside didn't come out, even a divine-level expert wouldn't be able to open the secret room easily. After Dongyu Shuai came out of the core of the formation, she took the black tiger and the black-robed middle-aged man to hide in the secret underground chamber of the City Lord's manor. Just as Dongyu Shuai and the rest hid in the secret chamber, the Overlord War God smashed the door of the City Lord's manor with a punch and killed his way in. However, the Overlord Battle Immortal, who had charged into the City Lord's mansion aggressively, was shocked by the scene in front of him. The City Lord's mansion was completely empty, not even a guard. He could not even see a shadow, let alone a person. However, he immediately rushed toward the place where the formation's power was converging. The Overlord Battle Immortal rushed over, smashing everything in his way. In the blink of an eye, he arrived in front of an inconspicuous wooden house behind the City Lord's mansion. Without any hesitation, the Overlord Battle Immortal threw a punch at the wooden house. Boom! With a loud bang, the entire wooden house was blasted into pieces by the Overlord Battle Immortal's punch. At the same time, a figure rushed out from the blasted wooden house. An extremely tyrannical Yuan Qi fluctuation erupted from this person's body. What? The Overlord Battle Immortal stared at the figure, and his pupils contracted. He sensed an extremely dangerous aura from the person. The person was obviously Ji Yufei's clone. He had used the formation to refine the entire Black Chilean city's formation core into his body. At this moment, he was one with the formation, and was extremely powerful. However, his martial body was still very weak, and could not withstand such a powerful force at all. Nevertheless, he had sealed the force within his body. Countless formation patterns constantly appeared and intertwined on his body. This was his ultimate technique. With his own strength, he had gathered the power of the entire Black Chilean city's city protection formation. However, in this way, the entire Black Chilean city had become a defenseless city. Even the light shield that shrouded the entire Black Chilean city had disappeared. By gathering the power of the entire Black Chilean city's city protection formation, Ji Yufei's clone seemed to have recovered his invincible cultivation. It was as if he could blast a hole in the sky with a single punch. This long-lost feeling of being extremely powerful and full of power was too refreshing. Who are you? The Overlord Battle Immortal stared at Ji Yufei's clone and asked in a deep voice. Me? Who cares who I am? If you don't want to die, get lost. Ji Yufei's clone stood in the void and said impatiently. How dare you ask me to get lost? The Overlord Battle Immortal was furious when he heard this. However, he quickly calmed down. This guy was obviously trying to provoke him and make him reveal his flaws. TSK, who do you think you are? If I were here, I would kill you with a slap. Ji Yufei's clone said disdainfully. Please don't use such a low-level technique. The Overlord Battle Immortal calmed down completely. He had experienced hundreds of battles and had encountered all kinds of opponents. This guy was trying to use provocation to affect his state of mind. He was really cunning. Haha, good, the Overlord Battle Immortal is really smart. Ji Yufei's clone gave a thumbs up to the Overlord Battle Immortal. At this moment, countless Overlord Divine soldiers charged into the city governor's residence. However, when they charged into the city governor's residence aggressively, they pounced on nothing because there was no one in the city governor's residence. Explode. At the moment when all the Overlord Divine soldiers charged into the city governor's residence, Ji Yufei's clone made a move. POW. Ji Yufei's doppelganger snapped his fingers. In the next moment, all the soldiers of the Sky Tyrant Divine Army who had attacked the City Lord's mansion exploded and turned into a cloud of blood mist. Their bodies and souls were instantly destroyed. What? When the Overlord Battle Immortal saw this, he almost collapsed. This was the Overlord Divine Army that he had spent a lot of effort to build. Such an invincible Divine Army had been instantly killed by the other party with a snap of his fingers. The Overlord Battle Immortal was going crazy. Kill. The Overlord Battle Immortal was enraged. He punched fiercely at Ji Yufei's clone and the explosive fist force caused the surrounding void to distort. Kill. Ji Yufei's doppelganger roared and threw a punch as well. Bam! Two fists smashed into each other in an instant, and the two figures were sent flying backward. Ji Yufei's clone crashed through the walls of the city governor's residence and rolled outside the city governor's residence. As for the Overlord Battle Immortal, he crashed into the city governor's residence. He crashed through the walls and was buried in the ruins. Ji Yufei's doppelganger stood up from the ground and walked step by step towards the hole in the wall that he had smashed open. At the same time, the Overlord Battle Immortal stood up from the ruins of the city governor's residence. He was shocked. Who was this person to be able to fight with him? Kill. Kill. The two of them roared and charged towards each other at the same time. It was as if they would not stop until one of them died. Chapter 5660. As the invincible war god of the tyrannical Sky Empire, the war against the Dongyu Empire could be said to have been initiated by him. Wu Liang was also his subordinate. At this moment, Wu Liang, who was previously defeated, regrouped and came back. At this moment, in order to gather the power of the entire Black Cheline City's formation to fight against the Sky Hegemon Battle Immortal, Ji Yufei's doppelganger did not hesitate to refine the core of the city protection formation into his own body. At this moment, he was the formation, and the formation was him. This was the legendary supreme realm of formation, unity of man and formation. This guy, the formation master of the mystical heaven sect who sneaked back and hid to watch the show, saw this scene and almost fell from the tree. Unity of man and formation, is this the legendary unity of man and formation? Master Lin mumbled to himself while trembling. Even in the mystical heaven sect, there was only one person who could reach the realm of unity of man and formation, and that was the mysterious sect master of the mystical heaven sect. The sect master of the mystical heaven sect was a mysterious existence. Even the disciples of the mystical heaven sect had never seen his true face. They did not even know whether the sect master was a man or a woman. However, the sect master of the mystical heaven sect's formation Dao was very impressive. Master Lin was also a competitive person. Otherwise, she would not have sneaked back to watch the battle. She wanted to see who exactly she was going to lose to. Who would have thought that she would see someone who surpassed the formation Grandmaster? In fact, not even in her wildest dreams would she have thought that this wasn't the true strength of Ji Yufei's clone. He was merely borrowing strength from her. If he were to rely on his own cultivation, Ji Yufei's clone wouldn't even be able to withstand a single punch from her. Ji Yufei's clone was cheating openly. Even the tyrannical Sky Empire thought that he had encountered a real godly state expert. Dongyu Shui, who was hiding in the secret room, also saw the scene above Black Cheline City through the dazzling light formation. Dongyu Shui was dumbfounded. When did brother become so powerful? Wang Zhon's sister, Wang Lingxue, stared at the scene in front of her in disbelief. My son. A woman in her 50s looked at the screen with a worried expression. Although this woman's clothes were simple, her skin was fair, her appearance was dignified, and her charm was still there. It was not hard to imagine that this woman's appearance was not bad when she was young. At this moment, Ji Yufei's doppelganger, Wang Zhongsheng, was ferocious to the extreme. Every single punch he sent out contained immense power, causing the Sky Overlord Battle God to be beaten senseless. Bam! The right eye of the Sky Overlord Battle Immortal was punched. Bam! Sky-dominating Battle Immortal's left eye was punched again. Bam! His nose was punched again, and blood spurted into the air. Does it feel good? Does it feel good? Ji Yufei's doppelganger's fists rained down on Overlord War Immortal's face. He used one of the 9 secrets of the Immortal Tao, the Anti-Void secret technique, to appear and disappear unpredictably. How could the Overlord Sky Battle God block him? Roar! The Overlord War Immortal was enraged. He was about to go crazy. A ball of fire erupted from his body and instantly swept in all directions. Half of the sky was burned red. Oh, he's going crazy. In a flash, Ji Yufei's doppelganger appeared hundreds of meters away. You bastard, don't hit people in the face, understand? The Sky Overlord Battle God roared at Ji Yufei's doppelganger. Oh, sorry, I just like to hit people in the face. I can't help it. Ji Yufei's doppelganger shrugged and said helplessly. Outrageous, I'm going to kill you. Overlord Wargod, who had been beaten into a pig's head by Ji Yufei's doppelganger, was so infuriated by Ji Yufei's doppelganger that he nearly spat out a mouthful of blood. Swoosh! The Sky Overlord Battle God seemed to have transformed into an invincible god of fire, charging towards Ji Yufei's doppelganger. At this moment, everyone was stunned. That was the Sky Overlord Battle God, the war god of the Sky Overlord Empire, yet he was beaten into a pig's head by Ji Yufei's doppelganger. How is this possible? Dongyu Shui, who was hiding in the secret chamber of the City Lord's mansion, was also stunned. The battle strength displayed by Ji Yufei's doppelganger was unbelievable. It was a miracle. How could this guy become so powerful all of a sudden? Dongyu Shui felt that she had seriously underestimated this guy. Could it be that this guy is a tiger in disguise? Is he actually some big shot who has nothing better to do and came out to gain experience? But this guy is clearly a small soldier of Black Qilin City. How can this be explained? Dongyu Shui had already investigated Wang Zhon's background, which was something she could not understand. Wang Zhon grew up in Black Qilin City and had never been to other places. But now, this small soldier could fight endlessly with the Sky Overlord Battle God, and even beat him into a pig's head. How can this be explained? This can't be explained. This is too difficult for me. Dongyu Shui was dumbfounded by Ji Yufei's doppelganger. It couldn't be helped. Everything that happened to a small soldier, Wang Zhon, was hard to explain. Ha ha ha. Treading on 8 desolations, I am the king. Ji Yufei's doppelganger laughed and took a step forward. He directly ascended into the sky, instantly appearing above the Sky Overlord Battle God, and then stomped down. This was the 8 desolations step, Ji Yufei's famous unique skill. A terrifying power burst out from under his feet, and instantly enveloped the Sky Overlord Battle God below. The Sky Overlord Battle God rushed over aggressively, but the figure of his opponent suddenly disappeared. Then, he felt his body tighten, and he could not move at all. Oh no! The Sky Overlord Battle God knew that he was in trouble. Bang! With a muffled sound, Ji Yufei's doppelganger directly stepped on the back of the Sky Overlord Battle God, and directly stomped him down from the sky. Boom! With a loud sound, Ji Yufei's doppelganger directly stomped the Sky Overlord Battle God down to the ground, creating a huge pit on the ground. Smoke and dust filled the air. In the big pit, Ji Yufei's doppelganger stepped on the Sky Overlord Battle God. I'm asking you, are you convinced? Ji Yufei's doppelganger said proudly. I'm not convinced. The Sky Overlord Battle God spat out a mouthful of blood and gritted his teeth. It's not your turn yet. If you are not convinced, I'll beat you until you are convinced. As Ji Yufei's doppelganger spoke, he immediately formed seals with his hands and struck out 6 demon sealing seals, directly sealing the Sky Overlord Battle God's cultivation. "What are you doing?" The Sky Overlord Battle God was shocked and furious. He realized that he could not circulate his Yuan Qi. In the next moment, before the Sky Overlord Battle God could react, Ji Yufei's doppelganger's fist had already smashed towards him. It was another beating, and the Sky Overlord Battle God was directly beaten until he cried for his parents. Everyone was completely dumbfounded. What a ruthless person! Dongyu Tianxia, Wu Liang, and the important figures of the Black Qilin City's Tiger Clan, Tu Clan, and Longxiang Clan were all dumbfounded. They never dreamed that the #1 war god of the Sky Overlord Empire, the Sky Overlord Battle God, would have such a miserable day. Who the hell is this guy? Outside the city, Master Lin of the Mystical Heaven sect, who was squatting on the branch of a big tree, almost had his eyeballs fall to the ground. Chapter 5661. The battle at Black Qilin City had too many twists and turns. Wu Liang was aggressive before, and the tyrannical young Lord Ba Fei even charged into the city. Wu Liang and the tyrannical young lord wanted to go all out and take down Black Qilin City in one fell swoop, but Ji Yufei's clone appeared out of nowhere. Although Ji Yufei's clone did not have much ability and was only at the initial Earth rank, he knew formations. Thus, the battle at Black Qilin City was reversed. Princess Dongyue's side, which was originally at a disadvantage, defeated Wu Liang's army and captured the tyrannical young lord alive. This was a great victory. Although Ba Fei was a foppish young lord, he was still the tyrannical Sky Lord's most beloved follower. He was also the first lord in the tyrannical Sky Lord dynasty to have a private army. Capturing Ba Fei alive was definitely a rare commodity for Dongyu Shui. She would also have a trump card to challenge the tyrannical Sky Lord. However, before Princess Dongyu could rejoice for long, the tyrannical war god led his 30,000 divine army to Black Qilin City. The tyrannical war god was the #1 war god of the tyrannical Sky Lord dynasty, a divine-level expert. Dongyu Shui was dumbfounded when such a powerful person arrived at the city. Then, the battle turned around again. The tyrannical war god charged straight into Black Qilin City. However, he severely underestimated Ji Yufei's clone. Thus, the tyrannical war god and his 30,000 divine army were trapped in Black Qilin City by Ji Yufei's clone. However, Ji Yufei's clone did not hesitate to use his trump card in order to teach the tyrannical war god a lesson. He directly refined the formation center of Black Qilin City into his body. Although he could not be invincible if he was serious, it was more than enough to defeat a divine-level expert like the tyrannical war god. Are you convinced? Are you convinced? I'll beat you until you do. Ji Yufei's clone did not show mercy. Hearing that the tyrannical war god was not convinced, he immediately punched and kicked him, causing the latter to scream in pain. He did not go easy on him. Very soon, this amazing man whose name shook the tyrannical Heaven Empire and the East Moon Empire, who was known as the invincible god of war, could only groan on the ground. Are you convinced? Do you want me to rub you on the ground again? Ji Yufei's doppelganger said coldly. No need, I give up. The Overlord Battle God said hurriedly. If he continued to grind this fellow against the ground, he would definitely die. A wise man knows better than to fight when the odds are against him. He would admit defeat first and talk later. The dignified battle god Ba Qianquan was humiliated to such an extent. However, he wasn't stupid enough to end his own life right now. Being alive was better than being dead. If you had admitted defeat earlier, you wouldn't have been tortured, right? What Overlord Battle God? He's just an idiot. Ji Yufei's doppelganger said disdainfully. Hearing this, the Overlord Battle God was so angry that he spat out a mouthful of blood and fainted. Sigh, what kind of war god is he? He can't even stand a single sentence from me. Ji Yufei's doppelganger shook his head disdainfully. The most important thing for a cultivator was their temperament, which was also known as the heart of Tao. This Overlord Battle God couldn't even stand such a small setback. It was unlikely that he would be able to achieve anything great. The Overlord Battle God had been in a high position for a long time, and he had never been tortured so badly. Ji Yufei's doppelganger had dragged the Overlord Battle God down from his pedestal. The Overlord Battle God obviously couldn't adapt to it, so he fainted from anger. This was a problem with one's state of mind. The heart of Tao was not firm enough. Ji Yufei's doppelganger would never make such a low-level mistake. Regardless of good or bad times, his heart would never change. This guy really defeated the Overlord Battle God. Dongyu Shui, who was hiding in the secret chamber, was in disbelief when she saw this from the light screen of the formation. To her, it was like a dream. However, no dream was that real. Oh no. Princess Dongyu was stunned when she thought of the oath she made to Wang Zhon. The reason why she made the oath to Ji Yufei's doppelganger was because she didn't believe that Ji Yufei's doppelganger could defeat the Overlord Battle God. But now, not only did Ji Yufei's doppelganger defeat the Overlord Battle God, but he also tortured the Overlord Battle God. Just when everyone was shocked, Ji Yufei's doppelganger disappeared on the spot. When he reappeared, he was already in the sky above the original hut of the City Lord's mansion. The place where the formation core of Black Chilean City was located had turned into a huge pit, and in the pit was a huge formation platform. At this moment, there was no trace of formation energy on the formation platform. This was because Ji Yufei's doppelganger had merged with the formation core. He was one with the formation, and the formation's energy had long been refined into his body. Ji Yufei's doppelganger slowly descended from the sky and landed in the center of the formation platform. Then, he sat cross-legged on it. The borrowed energy was not his own energy after all. However, if he were to inject this energy into the formation platform again, he would not be happy. After all, he had made great contributions to the East Moon Empire. Shouldn't he receive some rewards? After he made up his mind, he immediately released the tyrannical power that he had sealed in his body. In the next moment, countless formation inscriptions appeared on the formation platform under Ji Yufei's doppelganger. The inscriptions condensed in the void and intertwined to form formation diagrams. Those formation diagrams then wrapped around Ji Yufei's clone, who was sitting cross-legged in the center of the formation platform from all directions. Very soon, a cocoon of light appeared in the center of the formation platform. Powerful formation energy seeped out from the cocoon of light. There were still countless formation inscriptions circling around the cocoon of light. What is he doing? On the big tree outside Black Chilean City, Master Lin from the Mystical Heaven sect was extremely curious. However, she did not dare to approach. The itchy feeling almost drove her crazy. At this moment, the battle in Black Chilean City had not ended. Under the leadership of the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd commanders, the 30,000 Sky Tyrant Divine Army charged out of the City Lord's residence and headed for the position of the Sky Tyrant War Immortal. They wanted to save the Sky Tyrant War Immortal. At this moment, because the entire city defense formation's energy was sealed into Ji Yufei's body by his doppelganger, the entire Black Chilean City was a defenseless city. With the battle power of the 30,000 Sky Tyrant Divine Army, it did not seem difficult to save the Sky Tyrant War Immortal and kill their way out of Black Chilean City. However, how could the experts in Black Chilean City let the Sky Tyrant Divine Army rescue the Sky Tyrant War Immortal so easily? Chapter 5662. The Sky Hegemonic War God was extremely miserable. His cultivation had just been sealed by Ji Yufei's clone, and now a saber was placed on his neck. Whoever dares to move, I'll cut him down. Dongyu Tianxia tightened his grip on the saber, and a bloody mark appeared on the Sky Hegemonic War God's neck. Like a black torrent, the 30,000 Sky Hegemonic Divine Army came to a halt. The three commanders glared at Dongyu Tianxia, wishing they could tear him to pieces. However, Dongyu Tianxia's saber was already on the Sky Hegemonic War God's neck. Dongyu Tianxia, release our war god. The first commander of the Sky Hegemonic Divine Army pointed his saber at Dongyu Tianxia and roared. "TCH, was your head kicked by a donkey?" Dongyu Tianxia scoffed. "Damn it, Dongyu Tianxia, you're the lord of a city. Don't you think it's despicable of you to threaten us with our war god?" The second commander said sternly. "Ha ha," Dongyu Tianxia burst into laughter. "You guys are too childish. Don't you understand the logic of winner takes all? You say I'm despicable. What about you guys? You were just clamoring about slaughtering the city. Dongyu Tianxia mocked. You, the three commanders of the Sky Hegemonic Divine Army, were both shocked and enraged. If their Sky Hegemonic War God was killed by Dongyu Tianxia, then the Sky Hegemonic Divine Army would lose its value. Because the Sky Hegemonic War God was the soul of the Sky Hegemonic Divine Army, the key to their existence. Once the Sky Hegemonic War God died, then so would the Sky Hegemonic Divine Army. One should know that within the Sky Hegemonic dynasty, there were many who were dissatisfied with the Sky Hegemonic Divine Army for not listening to the Imperial Lord's orders. In fact, the one who was most dissatisfied with the Sky Hegemonic Divine Army was the Sky Hegemonic Lord, because he was the most amazing person in the entire dynasty. However, the Sky Hegemonic War God just had to stand above him, which made him extremely displeased. The Sky Hegemonic War God's achievements overshadowed the Imperial Lord. This was something everyone in the dynasty knew. However, so what if the Overlord Sky Overlord's strength was superior? Even the Overlord Sky Overlord wouldn't dare to offend the Overlord Sky Overlord because the Overlord Sky Overlord was a divine rank expert. In fact, the Overlord Sky Overlord was afraid of the power behind the Overlord Battle God. Dongyu Tian, do you really dare to kill me? Although the Sky Overlord Battle God was in an extremely sorry state and his cultivation base had been sealed by Ji Yufei's clone, he did not dare to utter a single word in front of Ji Yufei's clone. But in front of Dongyu Tian, he was still unyielding. Humph! You're just my prisoner now. Do you think I dare to kill you? Dongyu Tianxia sneered. Haha, although Sky Hegemonic Battle God had a saber on his neck, he couldn't help but laugh out loud when he heard East Moon Tianxia's words. What are you laughing at? Dongyu Tianxia stared at Overlord War God with a solemn expression. I'm laughing at you for being a frog at the bottom of a well and not knowing the immensity of heaven and earth. Overlord War God put away his smile and looked coldly at Dongyu Tianxia. What do you mean? Dongyu Tianxia was taken aback. East Pole Tyrant Clan, haven't you heard of it? Overbearing Battle God said proudly. What? Dongyu Tianxia's expression changed drastically. East Pole Tyrant Clan? Could the East Pole Tyrant Clan be behind the tyrannical Heaven Empire? How was that possible? Even Dongyu Tianxia, the lord of a city, broke out in a cold sweat. East Pole Tyrant Clan was one of the 8 great clans of the East Pole. In the East Pole, there was a saying that described the most powerful existences in the East Pole: the 1 emperor, 5 saints, and 8 great clans. These 8 great clans were the 8 great cultivation clans of the East Pole. These 8 great cultivation clans had existed for countless years. Every cultivation clan was a super antique cultivation clan that had existed since time immemorial. And the Tyrant clan was one of the 8 great clans. If the tyrannical Heaven Empire was backed by the Tyrant clan, how could the East Moon Empire contend against it? Tyrant Chenkuan, to think that you, the mighty Sky Hegemonic Battle God, are also a despicable liar. In order to survive, you're using the Tyrant clan that has nothing to do with you to scare me? If I'm fooled by you, wouldn't I be worse than a fool? Dongyu Tianxia's face was filled with disdain. You! The Sky Hegemonic Battle God was so depressed that he almost spat out another mouthful of blood. Tell your people to put down their weapons and surrender. Otherwise, I'll cut you down with a single slash. Dongyu Tianxia said sternly. The Sky Hegemonic Battle God and his 30,000 Sky Hegemonic Divine Army stared at Dongyu Tianxia nervously. And just as the two sides were at each other's throats, Ji Yufei's clone was in the center of the Black Chilean City's Great City Barrier Formation, drawing upon the power of the entire formation to temper his martial body. He wanted to take advantage of this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to raise his cultivation and battle prowess as much as possible. Otherwise, how could he establish himself in the Limitless Realm, a place filled with experts? Ji Yufei's clone didn't forget his mission here. He wanted to scout the path for his main body, to open the passage between the Limitless Realm and the Lower Realm, so that his main body could enter the Limitless Realm. Next, he wanted to seek revenge on that old guy, Sacred Lord Shu Tian. However, the Limitless Realm was so big. Where exactly was Sacred Lord Shu Tian? For a while, Ji Yufei's clone couldn't get any information about Sacred Lord Shu Tian. Everything had to be done slowly. There was no other way. The strength of Jiyu Fei's clone was too weak. If Sacred Lord Shu Tian knew that Jiyu Fei's clone had come to the limitless realm, given her personality, she would definitely kill Jiyu Fei's clone. That old guy was a vicious and merciless person. This body is too weak. Jiyu Fei's clone was really depressed. Wang Zhon's body was too weak. Even if he drew upon the power of the formation to temper his martial body, he still wouldn't be able to deal with him. He couldn't deal with him. Just a little bit more power would be enough to tear this body apart. If Jiyu Fei's clone hadn't used formation runes to seal this clone's martial body, who knew how many times this clone would have been destroyed? Within the light cocoon, the spiritual energy was like a knife, slicing through his flesh, tendons, and bones again and again. This kind of pain was hard to describe. Others wouldn't be able to bear it. However, since Jiyu Fei had grown to where he was now, what kind of pain had he endured? The pain of a martial body wasn't much. To a cultivator, the damage to the soul was the most fatal. However, even if he were to destroy Jiyu Fei's divine soul and reassemble it, he would not even frown his eyebrows. This pain was just a piece of cake for him. Blood changing, tendon transformation, bone forging, the martial body of Jiyu Fei's clone continuously transformed under the powerful energy. It became stronger and stronger, and the aura emitted from the light cocoon also became stronger. What is this guy doing? Chapter 5663. Jiyu Fei's clone was actually drawing on the power of Black Qilin City's protective formation to refine his martial body. This was rather frightening, and the faint sound of wind and thunder could be heard from the cocoon of light. Currently, Black Qilin City was definitely an undefended city. At this moment, the East Moon Empire's reinforcements finally arrived. The sky was filled with fluttering banners. However, there was still no sign of the tyrannical Sky Empire's reinforcements. Wu Liang was truly depressed. He had already retreated in defeat and was about to flee, but the tyrannical war god had unexpectedly arrived with his Sky Tyrant divine army. He was the tyrannical war god's subordinate. To be more precise, all the generals of the tyrannical Sky Empire were the tyrannical war god's subordinates. On the surface, the tyrannical Sky Emperor was the ruler of the tyrannical Sky Empire, but the military power of the tyrannical Sky Emperor was actually in the tyrannical Sky Emperor's hands. This was the most frustrating thing for the tyrannical Sky Emperor. As a great emperor, he actually could not even hold military power. To the tyrannical Sky Emperor, this was actually a humiliation. He was only an emperor without actual power. Without military power, if the tyrannical Sky Emperor wanted to change emperors, or if he wanted to sit on the throne himself, it was actually not difficult. Now, the tyrannical Sky Emperor had actually been defeated. As a result, Wu Liang retreated in defeat again. Wu Liang was very shrewd, and he also knew very well that as long as he had an army, he would be put in an important position. He had to preserve his strength, because once his army was defeated, he would have no value. Wu Liang suffered heavy losses in this battle. His army of hundreds of thousands had fought until now, and only less than 80,000 remained. Now that the East Moon Empire's reinforcements had arrived, he could only lead his defeated army and flee like stray dogs, because if they did not flee, the entire army would be annihilated. As long as he fled to another city of the tyrannical Sky Empire, he could recruit more troops and regroup. Kill all the trash of the tyrannical Sky Empire. Kill. The East Moon Empire's reinforcements chased after Wu Liang's army like a tide, unstoppable. Preposterous. Wu Liang did not dare to fight at all, and could only flee with his tail between his legs. At this moment, in Black Qilin City, the city lord Dongyu Tianxia held his saber against the tyrannical Sky Empire's army. The three commanders of the Sky Overlord War Immortal were all heaven-rank powerhouses. Any one of them could put up a fight against Dongyu Tianxia. Even Dongyu Tianxia knew that he was no match for the commanders of the three divine armies. Therefore, East Moon Tianxia could only hold the Sky Tyrant Battle Immortal hostage and force the Sky Tyrant Divine Army to surrender. However, the strongest army of the tyrannical Sky Empire did not surrender immediately. You no longer have any chance to turn the tables. If you don't surrender, then all of you can die. Dongyu Tianxia roared at the heaven tyrant divine army in front of him with a savage expression. Dongyu Tian, do you know what you're doing? Do you want the East Moon imperial family to be exterminated? Although the sky hegemonic battle god's cultivation had been sealed by Jiyu Fei, he was still as steady as an old dog. Ayo, Lord God of War, don't try to scare me again. I'm a coward. If you scare me, I might accidentally slit your neck. I'm really sorry. Dongyu Tianxia smiled. The sky hegemonic battle god was really speechless. Why did this guy not believe that he was from the East Tyrant clan? In fact, Dongyu Tianxia did not believe that the sky hegemonic battle god was from the East Tyrant clan, because the East Tyrant clan was too awesome. How could a puny sky hegemonic battle god be related to the East Tyrant clan? If the Heaven Tyrant imperial family was from the East Tyrant clan, then the Heaven Tyrant clan would have destroyed the East Moon Empire and the surrounding forces long ago. Lord God of War, the three commanders of the divine army did not know what to do. You're awesome. You're amazing. The sky hegemonic battle god gave Dongyu Tianxia a thumbs up. Put down your weapons. The sky hegemonic battle god roared at the sky hegemonic divine army. This war god's order. The three commanders heaved a sigh of relief and threw their weapons to the ground. They could not ignore the life and death of the sky hegemonic battle god. One should know that the relationship between the sky hegemonic battle god and the three commanders of the divine army was not ordinary. The three commanders were actually equivalent to the sky hegemonic battle god's disciples, and also like fathers. The three commanders were all heaven-rank battle generals trained by the sky hegemonic battle god. A wise man submits to circumstances. Very good. Dongyu Tianxia was overjoyed. Subduing the sky hegemonic divine army was a great achievement. He finally did not have to stay in a place like Black Qilin City. City Lord Dongyu Tianxia was a very ambitious guy. The sky hegemonic battle god looked at Dongyu Tianxia, who was a little carried away, and a cold light flashed in the depths of his eyes. At this moment, the guards of Black Qilin City and the experts of the various clans had already rushed over from all directions, surrounding the sky hegemonic divine army. Order your subordinates to remove their armor. Dongyu Tianxia said coldly to the sky hegemonic battle god. Remove their armor. The sky hegemonic battle god ordered without hesitation. The 30,000 sky hegemonic divine army accepted the order and removed their armor in unison. What are you guys still standing there for? Why aren't you collecting your weapons and armor? Dongyu Tianxia roared at the surrounding guards of Black Qilin City. He could not help but sigh. The sky hegemonic divine army was an army of hundreds of battles. They would unconditionally obey the orders of the sky hegemonic battle god. And the guards of Black Qilin City were far inferior. Under the command of Dragon Elephant Barbarian, the surrounding guards began to collect the weapons and armor of the sky hegemonic divine army. In fact, the current sky hegemonic divine army was already less than 30,000 people. At most, it was around 20,000, and this included the injured soldiers. War was cruel. No matter how strong an army was, when war broke out, there would inevitably be casualties. Although the sky hegemonic divine army was powerful, they would also die and be injured. More than 20,000 sky hegemonic divine soldiers were all locked up, while the sky hegemonic battle god and the three commanders of the army were locked up separately, awaiting Dongyu Shue'er's punishment. One should know that in Black Qilin City, Dongyu Tianxia was not the one with the highest status. Dongyu Shue'er was the real boss of Black Qilin City. Rumble. At this moment, a shocking sound came from the center of Black Qilin City's formation. A powerful Yuan Qi fluctuation erupted from the center of the array formation, shaking the entire city. Beam after beam of strong light rushed out from the cocoon of light in the center of the array formation. Soon, the light cocoon disappeared, and the divine light turned into a budding lotus. Then, under the shocked gaze of Dongyu Shue'er, the huge lotus slowly bloomed. A figure radiating with divine light sat in the lotus. Phew! Is this the god tier? The guy sitting cross-legged in the lotus flower suddenly let out a long sigh and said, God tier. Dongyu Shue'er was dumbfounded. This guy actually cultivated to the god tier? How long has it been? At that moment, Countless rays of divine light gathered towards the figure in the lotus like a tide and entered his body. Soon, even the lotus formed by the divine light was absorbed by the figure. Chapter 56-64. The divine rank was the highest realm that Ji Yufei's clone could reach at the moment. There was no other way. Wang Zhon's body was too weak. Even if Ji Yufei used his cultivation technique to refine the martial body would not be able to withstand too much power. Ji Yufei's clone's cultivation was at the beginner level of the divine level. However, he was a martial artist and had mastered the 9 secrets of immortal Tao, allowing him to challenge opponents of a higher level. This was the current confidence of Ji Yufei's clone. Congratulations on your great progress in cultivation. Dongyu Shui was the first to congratulate him. Your Highness has come personally to congratulate me? This subordinate can't accept such a compliment. Ji Yufei's clone smiled. So you're still aware that you're my personal guard? Dongyu Shui said unhappily. This subordinate greets your Highness. Ji Yufei's clone rose from the ground and bowed to Dongyu Shui. That's more like it. Dongyu Shui was pleased to see Ji Yufei's clone treating her with respect. Come, let's go back. Dongyu Shui waved her hand and left. Your Highness, isn't this the city lord's mansion? Where are you going? Ji Yufei's doppelganger said in surprise. Just follow me. You're my personal guard. Wherever I go, you'll be there. Protecting me is your mission, understand? Dongyu Shui said as she walked. Yes, Your Highness. Ji Yufei's clone could only follow along. After all, being the personal guard of the princess didn't seem to be a good job. At this moment, the entire Black Qilin city was in flames. The extent of the city's destruction was beyond Ji Yufei's clone's expectations. Especially the east city of Black Qilin City. The city gate and the city tower were completely destroyed. It would not be an easy task to rebuild it. Apart from the east gate, the other gates were also damaged to varying degrees. Among the 4 major districts of Black Qilin City, the east district suffered the most damage. Especially in the eastern part of the city, from the eastern gate to the city lord's mansion, the buildings on both sides of the eastern street were almost all affected by the battle, and the houses on both sides of the street were severely damaged. It also caused a lot of casualties among the citizens. Other districts were also affected by the flames of war. It had been a very long time since Black Qilin City had suffered such heavy losses. If the East Moon Empire wanted to rebuild Black Qilin City, it would probably take a lot of manpower and resources. However, none of this seemed to be under Dongyu Shui's control, because she was about to return to the East Moon Imperial capital. Capturing the Sky Hegemonic Battle Immortal alive was a great merit. Dongyu Shui was going to escort the tyrant war god back to the Eastern Moon Royal capital to claim her reward. As a princess, she would bring great honor to the Eastern Moon Royal family. The next day, early in the morning, outside the west gate of Black Qilin City, banners fluttered in the wind, and a prison carriage slowly drove out from the city gate. In front of the prison carriage were hundreds of East Moon soldiers in battle armor, and behind the prison carriage were also hundreds of East Moon soldiers. However, these hundreds of East Moon soldiers carried bows and arrows on their backs, indicating that they were all archers. However, this was not the most eye-catching thing. The most eye-catching thing was the person in the prison carriage. This was a middle-aged man with a tall and mighty figure, his body covered in black iron chains. This person exuded a dignified aura, and his eyes shone brightly. Although he was in the prison carriage, he still stood proudly and calmly. He's the #1 war god of the Sky Hegemonic Empire, the Sky Hegemonic Battle God Hegemonic Chenkuan. Both sides of the West Gate Street were filled with citizens watching the show. To think that this guy would have such a day. This is the guy who attacked the city and killed quite a few people. The citizens on both sides of the street discussed animatedly, constantly pointing at the person in the prison carriage. What Sky Hegemonic Battle God? Die! Someone suddenly shouted, and then, a rotten egg was directly smashed onto the head of the Sky Hegemonic Battle God in the prison carriage. Go to hell! My son died in the hands of the Sky Hegemonic Divine Army. My son's father, this is the murderer. Beat him to death. The people on both sides of the street were in an uproar. Countless rotten vegetables, fruits, and rotten eggs were smashed onto the sky hegemonic battle god in the prison carriage like raindrops. However, the sky hegemonic battle god still stood proudly in the prison carriage, allowing these things to hit his body without making a sound. This person is worthy of being called an ambitious and ruthless person. On the West Gate, Gu Fei's doppelganger saw this scene and could not help but secretly nod. This sky hegemonic battle god was not simple. The reason why Gu Fei's doppelganger said that the sky hegemonic battle god was an ambitious and ruthless person was because the sky hegemonic battle god was really able to endure. Only an ambitious and ruthless person could endure what others could not. If he would rather die than submit and died on the battlefield, he would be a hero and would be respected by everyone. However, it was obvious that the sky hegemonic battle god did not want to be a hero, because he wanted to live. Only by living could he avenge himself, and only then could he trample on the people who humiliated him. Unfortunately, he did not know that his opponent was Gu Fei's doppelganger. He was destined to have no chance of turning the tables. Previously, Gu Fei's doppelganger needed to borrow the power of Black Chilean City's formation to fight against the sky hegemonic battle god. But now, his cultivation had reached the early stage of the divine realm. In other words, without the help of Black Chilean City's formation, Gu Fei's doppelganger could still fight against the sky hegemonic battle god. Ambitious and ruthless person? You have a very high opinion of this prisoner, Dong Yu Shui, who stood in front of Gu Fei's doppelganger, said. Although she looked calm on the surface, she was extremely happy on the inside. The female general at the front of the team that escorted the sky hegemonic battle god was Dong Yu's captain of guards, Yang Fei-yun. She wore a battle robe and held a spear in her hand, looking valiant and heroic. At that moment, Yang Fei-yun was definitely at the peak of her life. One had to know that she never dreamed that she would have the chance to escort a great figure like the sky hegemonic battle god. The sky hegemonic battle god, the top war god of the sky hegemonic empire, the invincible divine general of the empire. He had fought countless battles in his life and had never been defeated. Who would have thought that he would be defeated in Black Chilean City? However, at that moment, a team suddenly appeared on the opposite side and went straight for the escort team. What's going on? Gu Fei's doppelganger could not help but frown when he saw this. Meanwhile, Dong Yu Shui stared at a huge flag in the opposing team and clenched her fists. The flag of the opposing team was embroidered with a tiger with wings. The Flying Tiger Army of the Dongyu Empire? Gu Fei's doppelganger suddenly said. He had read Wang Zhon's memories and suddenly remembered the origins of the troops that had suddenly appeared. The Flying Tiger Army was one of the strongest armies of the Dongyu Empire, and the commander of the Flying Tiger Army was the strongest clan among the three great clans of the Dongyu Empire, the Tiger Clan. Of course, the Tiger Clan of Black Chilean City had nothing to do with the Tiger Clan, the number one clan of the Dongyu Empire. The Flying Tiger Clan had an ancestor. Even the royal lord of the Dongyu Empire had to be polite when he saw the ancestor. The troublemakers are here. Chapter 56-65. Princess Dongyu was in high spirits as she stood on the west gate of Black Chilean City. Looking at the escort team, she felt that she was standing at the peak of her life. She actually captured the number one war god of the tyrannical empire alive. This time, she had no choice but to become famous. She was already imagining the awe-inspiring scene of herself escorting the overlord battle god back to East Moon Imperial City. However, just as Princess Dongyu was feeling happy, a team suddenly appeared on the road in the distance. The Hu clan. Dongyu Shui was displeased when she saw the team's flag. The Hu clan was not the Hu clan of Black Chilean City. Moreover, the Hu clan of Black Chilean City had nothing to do with the Hu clan. Flying Tiger Corps. Gu Fei's clone smiled when he saw the team in the distance. There was going to be a good show. The Flying Tiger Army suddenly appeared and stopped Yang Fei-yun. What are they trying to do? Dong Yu Shui's tone was furious. Gu Fei's clone had vaguely guessed the reason for the sudden appearance of the Flying Tiger Corps. Guard Yang, just leave them to us. You should go back and protect Her Highness. A middle-aged general of the Flying Tiger Corps urged his horse forward and said to Yang Fei-yun indifferently. Hu Qian, what did you say? Yang Feiyun was instantly enraged. There's nothing wrong with your ears. Didn't you hear what I said? Do you want me to say it again? The middle-aged general called Hu Qian said coldly. Ha ha. Yang Feiyun suddenly burst into laughter. What are you laughing at? Hu Qian said with a gloomy expression. I'm laughing at you for being an idiot. Yang Feiyun stared at Hu Qian and mocked. This guy wants me to hand over the tyrannical war god right away. Who gave him the courage? You're courting death. Hu Qian stared at Yang Feiyun and a chilling killing intent immediately spread from his body. What, you want to fight? Yang Feiyun's body also erupted with a powerful aura. This guy really wants to take the credit. There was no such thing in this world. You think I'm afraid of you? Hu Qian was about to make a move. Aha! At this moment, a person walked out of the Flying Tiger Army's carriage. Swoosh! The man waved his right hand and opened the folding fan in his hand. He looked at Yang Feiyun calmly. This person was dressed in white and had a slender figure. His face was like jade, and his lips were red and his teeth were white. He was a handsome young master, but there was a hint of an evil smile on the princess's face. Hu Xiaotian. When Yang Feiyun saw the young master walking out of the carriage, she couldn't help but be shocked. She never thought that she would see this guy here. This Hu Xiaotian was one of the 3 great young masters of the East Moon Imperial City. He was the genius of the younger generation of the Hu clan. At such a young age, he had already cultivated to the middle realm of the heaven rank. Such a level of cultivation was already one of the best in the younger generation of the Dongyu Empire. After all, Dongyu Shui, the princess, was only at the early heaven stage. Yang Feiyun, step down. Hu Xiaotian, who was standing on the carriage, said proudly with an unquestionable tone. Yang Feiyun hesitated. She could look down on Hu Qian, but she couldn't ignore Hu Xiaotian. The Hu clan was the strongest among the 3 great clans of the East Moon Empire. In the entire East Moon Empire, other than the royal family, the Hu clan was the strongest. Moreover, this Hu Xiaotian was not only the strongest in the younger generation of the Hu clan, but also Dongyu Shui's fiancé. Therefore, Yang Feiyun didn't know what to do. What, still not stepping down? Seeing Yang Feiyun hesitate, Hu Xiaotian's voice immediately turned cold. Hu Xiaotian, you've grown up. How can you order my people around? At this moment, a figure descended from the sky and kicked Hu Qian off the horse. He stood on the horse's back and looked coldly at Hu Xiaotian on the carriage. Ha ha, Your Highness, I'm your fiancé. Isn't what's yours mine? Hu Xiaotian said with a smile. He had actually noticed Dongyu Shui on the city wall long ago. Hu Xiaotian, what nonsense are you talking about? Don't even think about marrying me in this life. Dongyu Shui said angrily. The reason why she was in Black Qilin City was actually very cliché. It was to escape from a marriage. In order to win over the Hu clan, the East Moon Imperial Lord actually wanted to marry his most beloved princess, Dongyu Shui, to the genius of the Hu clan's younger generation, Hu Xiaotian. In the eyes of the Imperial Lord, Hu Xiaotian and Dongyu Shui were a perfect match. Hu Xiaotian's son-in-law was not bad. It's not up to your highness to decide whether to marry him or not. As long as I escort this overlord war god back to the imperial capital, I'll ask his majesty to marry us. Hu Xiaotian waved his fan and said with a faint smile. Hu Xiaotian, do you have any shame? Dongyu Shui was furious. This guy even dared to steal her credit. He was simply lawless. Hu Xiaotian didn't even use a bit of strength. He wanted to take advantage of her the moment he arrived. How could Dongyu Shui let this guy bully her? So what if I'm shameless? Hu Xiaotian's expression darkened. With a wave of his hand, the Flying Tiger army behind him immediately rushed forward and flanked Dongyu Shui's group. Your Highness, the city lord of Black Qilin City and the other important figures of Black Qilin City had already received the news and rushed out of the city. When Dongyu Tianxia saw Hu Xiaotian, his heart immediately skipped a beat. He knew something bad was about to happen. This Hu Xiaotian was going to cause trouble. At this moment, the East Moon Empire's reinforcements stationed outside Black Qilin City also gathered towards the West City Gate from all directions. Hu Xiaotian, are you trying to rebel? Dong Yu Shui roared at Hu Xiaotian. Among the East Moon Empire's reinforcements, the Flying Tiger Army was the main force. The generals of the reinforcements were mostly from the Hu family. In other words, the East Moon Empire's reinforcements only listened to Hu Xiaotian's orders. Dong Yu Shui never thought that her father would send such reinforcements. These reinforcements were controlled by the Hu family. With Hu Xiaotian's status in the imperial city's Hu family, he was actually equivalent to the general of this East Moon Empire's reinforcements. Rebel? How would I dare? I'm only here to welcome your highness back to the capital. My carriage is very spacious and much more comfortable than riding a horse. Hu Xiaotian said disapprovingly. You've gone too far. Dong Yu Shui was both shocked and angry. At this moment, Hu Xiaotian had already controlled the entire situation. Even Dong Yu Shui was probably powerless. She was so depressed that she almost vomited blood. The great merit of capturing the Overlord War God was snatched away by this detestable guy just like that. Do you want him alive or dead? At this moment, a voice sounded behind Dong Yu Shui. A figure had been silently following beside her.